I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. All right, everybody, we are live, and I think I'm a little bit loud, so I'm gonna turn myself down. What's going on, guys? We are live here for the Wednesday show. Browns are 9-3. We got the Ravens coming up this week. We've got with me, as always, Mike Ristano at Bonzo1273, and my dad's actually joining us this time. My dad is down there in the little guest bubble. I'm still working on formatting some of these things, but I wanted to at least have him on there for video as well, just to say hello, and we can talk a little bit about the big Titans game and a whole bunch of other stuff. So first off, Mike, how are you doing? And what are your thoughts on that wild Titans game?
Yeah, I mean, they had to go down. They had to take care of business. As I mean, we've talked about it. I really feel that every one of these games now at this point really is a must win. I mean, I know we're at 90 some percent, playoff probability or whatever, but I throw that out the window. I think I love, you and I have talked about it, Stefanski's 1-0 mentality every week, and yeah, I mean, I thought they were going to go down there and win. I really did. Did I think that they were going to come out like gangbusters in the first half the way they did?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So I'm pleased, and I'm excited, and I'm a little bit nervous for Monday night, and then we got flex the following week. So I mean, what a time to be a Browns fan, guys.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Dad, what are your emotions after that wild Titans game?
Well, finish was, I was thinking, can we really lose this game? It was getting like the Cowboys game where we had such a big lead, we sort of went to sleep. We tried to be a little aggressive in the second half, but things just didn't work out, and we gave up too many easy, quick touchdowns to get them back in the game. We gotta, as we talk about on our shows, we got to play 4 quarters. You can't play a half a game. You can't play 3 quarters. Um, that onside kick against Dallas or
Mhm.
onside kick the other day, and the game goes the other way. I mean, it just you hate to lose based on that. But as far as the game, it was great. I mean, I thought you couldn't have played a better first half. I was just thinking, what are we going to do in the second half to outdo what we did in the first? I mean, this could be 60-0 if if these guys continue to score every time they get the ball. But when you go into the prevent, you start using the clock up, you start making mistakes. It was a team effort. Baker played great in the first half. Chubb and Hunt contributed. The O line protected him. The receivers made some nice catches. The play calling was very good.
Mhm.
The defense stepped up. Without Denzel Ward, which is a big loss for us. Special teams played well. Parkey's kicking the hell out of the ball. Mike and I were just talking before the show started about Dallas kicker missing 3 field goals. That's devastating
Yeah.
when you have the ball for a long time and then you try to feel a makeable field goal, or your offensive lineman jumps off sides, or something happens. Then you got to move it back 5 yards. The guy's got to kick a little harder. Boom, and he misses. It's I felt bad for the kid, but it was a great game. Great game.
Well, I do wanna welcome in everybody from Twitch. So the goal will be here in the future is to start doing all of the stuff over all of the live shows on Twitch. I'm going to be simulcasting or multicasting for a while between YouTube and Twitch, right? But we'd really like it to really meet kind of transitioning more to the Twitch platform for the live stuff. Now the VODs and the hype videos are going to remain on YouTube. So everybody keep that in mind. And we've got a very special show today. So obviously we have my dad as a guest, right? So which is great. And this is Mike. I don't think you and my dad haven't met yet. Have you been on a show live with my dad yet?
No, we've
Well, when I called in from Baltimore last year,
yep.
that's when I got
Okay.
to talk with Mike. But
Okay.
other than that, I don't think so. I think Mike's got a great voice for the radio or for
He
this. I
does.
mean,
He
he's
does.
very soothing and very professional. I mean, he just sounds like an announcer. I mean, he's just or an analyst. He's just very comforting to listen to.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
that's what they say. They say what it is this ASMR time with Mike Ristano. Um yeah, it was funny. Like I'll tell the story at some point, like how Mike and I became really close because I asked him to be on one of my videos, and we just started chatting. I was like, I really like this guy. Like he's a really good Browns fan, and like we have a lot in common. So that's kind of like evolved into the good old Wednesday show, right?
Yeah, very
Um,
true.
so we've got the YouTube audience currently on. We've got the Twitch audience currently on. I want to say hi to everybody, and then on top of that, we're doing the Baker Jersey Giveaway. So I
Mm.
hope you guys are in because it was a Gleam one, so you had to like push some buttons to enter. So I'm going to do the drawing for that, and we're going to do the world premiere of the new hype video, which I spent a lot of time working on. It was really it was a passion project, I guess you could say, right? So this is one that I'm getting ready, and we're actually going to go live with it on YouTube and Twitch, or I'm sorry, YouTube and Twitter tomorrow. But I want to give the live audience a look at the new hype video. So why don't we go? I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and then we'll come back on and we'll talk about it, and then we'll do the Baker Jersey giveaway. Right? How's that sound, guys?
Enjoy, guys. It's good.
All right, here we go.
That's how it starts. The fever. The rage that turns good men cruel.
This bat vigilante is like a one-man reign of terror.
This means something. It's all some people have. It's all that gives them hope.
People hate what they don't understand. Be their hero.
Do you know the oldest lie in America, Senator? The devils don't come from hell beneath us. They come from the sky.
20 years in Gotham, how many good guys are left? How many stayed that way?
Black and blue. God versus man. Day versus night.
Tell me, do you bleed? You will.
What does everybody think? Decent.
Good.
I think that one. I think that's gonna smack a little bit on Twitter. So I am that the end of it when the Nirvana song comes on, it just gives me the chills. Beast Girl says it's epic. Oh, Redhead's in here. Jones is in here on Twitch. Nate Dogg's in here on Twitch. What's going on, guys? I am watching. Let's effing go. So Rachel, who's one of the big Browns Twitter people, is I love making these videos. I think she's like the biggest fan of the hype videos that I make. She's always told me that like these hype videos are like what she lives for these hype videos. So every single time, and I told her this, I said every single time I make one of these hype videos, I think about you and I think she's gonna love this one. She's really gonna love this one. And so Rachel, I'm glad you were here for that because it feels good. It's gonna be a fun week here against the Ratbirds.
Yeah, you had a lot to work with, a lot of material just coming out of the first half of last week's game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, the funny thing about it was I actually had so much more that I wanted to add in there. I had to cut down the original trailer. The original trailer was like 3.5 minutes, and you only get 2 minutes and 20 seconds on Twitter. And that's where it's going to really pop. Twitter it explodes. On YouTube, it'll get a couple thousand views, but on Twitter, it might get 30, 40,000 views. So I have to be constrained within that 2 minutes and 20 seconds. But it makes it so you don't kind of go overboard, right? It's just enough. And another guy, he may or may not pop in every once in a while. He does is Ingraven Vids is a freaking awesome YouTuber, and he is excellent, and he asked me to come on his show and to do a little video. So he's going to be publishing it. I don't know if he says he's going to publish it either tomorrow or Friday, but there's going to be a nice 7.5-minute session of me talking about the Browns, and talking about how I feel about the Baltimore Ravens. So that's coming up from Ingraven as well. So it's awesome. So Brownie post game is just going off the chains right now. But guys, we are 9-3, and I know
amazing.
it is the first time in like forever that we have been 9-3, and it's just like I don't even know what to say. It's like,
well, I think the good part is that Stefanski won't let him sit on their laurels. He's got this philosophy of we need to be 1-0 next week. We need to be 1-0. The past is the past, and he's not going to let them sit on it. And I think the guys are hungry enough that they're going to take them to heart. Obviously, playing against the Ravens on Monday night, national audience, all the hype. I watched the Ravens last night from start to finish. I was rooting against them. Had the Cowboys in an upset, but that didn't materialize. But they're beatable. They're beatable. They've lost some players. They're not that sharp. Lamar was out for 2 weeks, I guess, on the bench because of COVID. He got sick. Right. He was actually sick. So his stamina really held up. He made some huge runs. And if we don't contain him, and Dallas could not, then we're gonna be in for a long night come next Monday. So we got to come up with a scheme that somebody spies on him, somebody's on him, and they don't let him run 30 or 40 yards down the field or get that 3rd and 9 first down, because we got the passing game. His passing was very suspect. He'd hit a guy, he'd miss a guy. They lost a key player, so they're going to be one down. I don't know what's the status of Ward. Is he close to coming back? We really need him.
Yeah, we don't know. I think that they would have. I think if they thought that it was going to be a long-term thing, that they would have put him on the IR, and they didn't. So, I mean, we'll find out tomorrow. We'll see what Stefanski has to say, but I want to say maybe there's a chance. I don't know anything, but I think there might be a chance. I don't think it was as serious as Teller's was. Right. And but at the same time, I mean, Kevin Johnson has played well outside. I mean, if he's not ready, I have faith in T. Mitch and Johnson to hold the fort down, outside. But what I found interesting last night, and you touched on it, Dan, is if you take, I mean, Lamar had 107, passing yards. The one throw in the corner of the end zone, there's no denying it was a very nice throw. But for every one of those, he has 7 that are awry. So right. I think the main, if our linebackers can maintain their gaps on Monday night, I think we'll be in a really nice situation, because I mean, if Van Der Esch doesn't get lost and washed in the sauce there, I mean, he should be in position to make that play on that 47-yarder or whatever it was. I mean, he had no gap integrity, and you saw what happened. So I think if those backers maintain their gaps, and I'm assuming Taki will probably be the spy, but I think if you could hold him, he's going to get his rushing yards. I mean, there's no question about that. But I mean, if you can contain him and make him beat you through the air, as you guys know, I don't think he could do it.
Yeah, right. I think that's the key. If we can get way ahead of them, like what we did to the Titans, right? Where then Derrick Henry is not a factor, right? I mean, if it gets to a point where they physically cannot run the ball because they're going to lose to us and the clock, then we take him out of the game. And that's the same thing I said on the Engraven Vids spotlight video that I'm doing. All we have to do is get up by like 4 touchdowns,
Yeah,
I mean,
your optimism. I like this. 4 touchdowns right now. 4.
But honestly, like, I know it sounds crazy and we're all laughing about it, but look, I mean, we got up by 30 plus points, at halftime, and then we just held on for dear life. Just same thing that we did in the Cowboys. We just held on for dear life. And it's a blood pressure rising type of way of playing football, but at least it's not the old Browns where we'd be down the whole game, blown out, and maybe trying to scratch our way back and maybe get close and fail at the end. I think when I was talking to Quincy about this, the one game that really I think goes a little bit unnoticed this season and is forgotten about, that really started the culture change this season and started to get them to believe. And that was the Reds, the football team game, right? Where we were up and then we let them come back and then we were down 20-17 and then we closed. And that was Chubb and Hunt closing, right? That was the first time we saw that. So it is it's we have the capacity on this team now to score a lot of points and get ahead, and you got to do that against the Ravens, because if they run the ball, which they want to do, then they're going to have their way with us. It happened last year in Cleveland. It happened the first game of the season. Mike, were you at the Ravens game in Cleveland last year?
No, I was not.
Okay. So, and my dad was at the Ravens game in Baltimore and got to see us and I was like, Dad, why are you going to that game? This is probably not the one you're going to want to go to. A, it's an away game. B, it's in Baltimore.
So excited when he called in.
Oh man, I would have lost my mind that game. So that might go down in history, Dad, as like the best Browns game you may ever see, because
it was great. I mean, the only reason I went is because, my good friend Steve Sullivan, who's a huge Ravens fan, invited me, and he's just such a nice guy. We have friendly banter back and forth, but when we got stuck on the goal line there late in the game, the crowd was just going nuts. I thought we were going to blow it, and I thought it's a good effort, but we're going to blow it because it's just a momentum. And then Chubb turned that corner, and I said, good, first down. And then he just kept going. And you could have heard a pin drop in that stadium. And we talked about it last year when I called in about the decibels and this and that and the other thing. But
yeah,
it was great. So I'm hoping that we're a better team this year, obviously, but we're a better team than when we played that first game against the Ravens. I went back and I looked at a couple of the games this week. Had nothing better to do, go over the prior games, and I watched the Steelers game where they just literally kicked our butts from start to finish, and we got behind and we just could not get out of the funk. I mean, I think at one point they had us down 24-0 before we scored at the end of the first half or something. But when you get down like that, it's awfully hard to come back. But unlike prior years, we do have the capability with Baker and the Chubb and the receivers of coming back. We haven't really done it from a deep hole. We've been down a touchdown or 10 points and we've come back. But that Pittsburgh game, they did everything right. We did everything wrong, including the pick six of Baker right at the beginning,
right out of the gate,
which is just a crusher.
Surprised you put yourself through watching that second time.
I wanted to see why did we lose to Pittsburgh? Why was it so bad? And I saw it.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it was one of those games where I think that's where the national media kept going on the narrative that it's the same old Browns.
Right.
It was, we don't have to respect these guys. It isn't, they're just going to fall apart when they play with anybody of any decent caliber. And now we thought our quality win was going to be the Colts, and that was going to be the one that we could hang our hats on. and
Right.
everybody ignored it. They even excluded it from articles that were talking about the narrative of the Browns can't beat anybody good. They just left it out of the article about it. That's how ridiculous it was. But now it turns out that the football team's not bad. When Chase Young's playing and Alex Smith, although we didn't really get either of them when we played them earlier in the season, but still, the football team's not that bad. The Cowboys are pretty bad, right? But the Colts was a quality win. The Titans are absolutely a quality win. So, I mean, hey.
Yeah, it was a
we can be
meaningful
good
game
teams.
too.
And it was an away
meant
game.
for them, and it was away. We had good weather for the first time in 3 weeks, so they could throw the ball, they could run, they could do the things that we wanted to do. I don't think we lost anybody to an injury, which is always great to survive from 1 week to the next without putting somebody on injured reserve or out for the season type of thing. So, I mean, they showed pictures of Alex Smith's recovery after he had the accident or the broken leg, and
it's brutal.
They showed his leg about, I don't know, a day or two after surgery. It was, I mean, I had to turn away from the picture with all of the rods and everything going through his leg, and his leg was twice the size of normal with all the scars and everything. How he can get back on a National Football League field with those monsters coming after him with that leg, is beyond me. He's got a lot of courage.
I agree. Hey, what do you guys think? And I know, Dan, you brought up Stefanski earlier. So I saw earlier on Twitter, and I don't know if it was because the pressers aren't until tomorrow, but I saw that Jake Trotter, I don't know if it was a phone type of spot that they had with him today or whatnot. But anyway, regardless, they had asked him what he thought of the player reactions that were going around Twitter after the Pittsburgh game. And needless to say,
I like the Jarvis one.
He did not. He is not fond, shall we say, of social media. He's not on it. And the way it was described was, you could tell, you could sense his disdain for social media. And I wonder what you guys think. I as a fan of the team, when you initially read some of those ones, Mac Wilson, obviously, Miles had one. There was a couple other ones. We smile and we laugh and we're like, yeah. But is that something? What do you guys think? After thinking about it, for me, that's not something really I want to see my players doing on social media. I'd rather save that for the three of us and our listeners. So anytime you provide the other team any type of bulletin board material, historically, it never pans out well for you. So I'm interested on what you guys think of that.
Well, that type of stuff goes way back. I'm an old baseball player, and a manager, another team would love to be able, like you just said, Mike, put on the bulletin board in the locker room what somebody said in the press. It hit the papers. Somebody said, well, this guy sucks and he can't hold a candle to this, and we're going to kick his butt and blah, blah, blah. And all they do is they cut it out and they put it on the bulletin board, and then you look at it every day. Says, yeah, that guy's calling you out. Now they do it on social media, which is an easier way. And you would think that the players, there's been enough garbage that's gone out there where people press the button and then they think, oh God, that just went out to everybody, and I didn't really mean to say it that way. And once you press that button, it's gone. So I don't like it. And it's great that Stefanski came out and said, hey guys, tone it down. We got to win the game on the field, not on social media, not in the press. And then obviously if you get beat, you get roasted the next week. So
well, you look at what happened with Pittsburgh, where when LeBron James tweeted at us, congratulations, and then Eric Ebron, that pass dropping tight end from the Steelers, ends up saying, where are they going, bro? And Jarvis goes, we'll see, bro.
Yep.
So I think you guys are both spot on that anytime that you're allowing the competitive team to have any additional fire to get ready for a game. And then not only that, but at the end, then if they end up winning, then they're gonna just rub it in, and it's kind of like the Johnny Manziel thing, when Johnny Manziel always used to do this, and then every time he got sacked, the defensive players would do this to kind of like mock at him, and it's just like there's so many things that go into football, and you don't want to add another distraction, right?
Yeah. Look what Cribbs did to us 2 years ago, I guess. When Baker, had that great game against the Jets, the first win, and Cribbs goes in the end zone. He puts the ball underneath his rear end and drops it like he's taking a dump in the end zone on the Brown, then takes the ball and throws it into the stadium. Into the fans.
And then we beat them.
Of course, that becomes viral. And of course, they were winning 14-0, I guess, at the time. It looked like they were gonna pound us. And then Baker brought us back, and we won that game. And what sweet revenge! And I think Cribbs got called out on that.
No, it wasn't Cribbs. It was Crowell.
Oh, Crowell. I'm sorry. Yeah, it wasn't Cribbs. It was Crowell. Yeah, and
Cribbs would never do that. Cribbs is a diehard Browns fan.
Yeah, I got my C's mixed up. That's all.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the other thing that stands out too, and along that same vine, is the on-field celebrations when the defense does something. It's so cringy to me every time. Even when we do it, it's cringy. Yeah, it's like,
why do they run down to the end zone? Is that permitted now to run down to the end zone? There's a screen there, so everybody takes their their pose and does their antics or their dance or whatever. But yeah, it's getting out of hand. It's really getting out of hand.
The worst was the Super Bowl.
You guys you set me up for this, because I was trying to find a spot to bring it up, and you guys you threw me a grapefruit. So I don't know. Again, I'll throw this back to you two. I love the celebration. I mean, as a kid, I grew up with the Redskins Fun Bunch and all that good stuff. Like I some people say it's bad for the game. I think in moderation, I like it. It's fun. The National Football League was the
no
fun league for a little while. But anyway, regardless, I know we all got a kick out of the way. Hollywood was getting ready to walk down the carpet, and Ricky Henderson slid in and got into picture taking mode. But I got to tell you, as funny and cool as it is, that's a lot of joint movement, and I get it, but I think it's a little bit too much from a position of great importance, that I just.
And you celebrate too early. You're up, and you're up by 14 or 12 or something, and it's not the end of the game. And you're happy, you're ecstatic at that moment, but the game has got to go on, and they're going to be just as ecstatic, if not more, if they come back and they beat you and they rub it in. So I mean, save all that to the end of the game, and have good fun with it.
What if Baker tears a knee while he's trying to the slide in?
I actually thought about that, Mike, when I added it to the video.
That's all I could think of.
Honestly, I thought of it the exact same thing. I go, man, that was a really, really nice, well executed slide spin, but holy crap! What if he would have planted a leg and just twisted his knee or something, and we lose a guy. And we're the Browns. This happens to us.
It does happen to us.
So it's like I think Hollywood's red carpet walk.
Oh yeah,
is my favorite, all-time favorite touchdown celebration. And the fact that 2 years ago he was doing it, and then last year he really only got to do it once, and then. And everybody loves him. And then this year he's catching touchdowns again, and we're like, yes, do it. And I actually took a video of it from my phone and tweeted it out right afterwards. I love Hollywood Higgins, but the slide was like, it's so dangerous.
How did he get that nickname Hollywood?
I don't honestly know. I think it was probably something from college.
I used to know, and he wasn't on the field long enough last year for me to remember, as sad as that might
Bro,
be.
Well,
yeah.
one of my pet peeves is when these guys sack somebody, and then they get up and they give this horrendous roar. I think of football players as having batteries, and there's only so much juice in your battery. And every play, it goes down and it goes down. You don't get a chance to recharge it like you're recharging your car, at the overnight or whatever. So by the end of the game, you're down to 10% of your battery, 20% of your battery. You're on fumes and whatnot. And these, when the guys make these faces and they scream and whatnot, they're using up energy. They're using up their battery to us, maybe only at 1 or 2%, but then another 1 or 2%, then another, and before you know it, they should just take it easy. It's not the end of the game or the Super Bowl when you sack somebody. I mean, it's just unless it's a really key part of the game at the very end with an interception or whatever, the game goes on, and just save it, conserve it, and use it, to get you through the rest of the game.
Right. I agree. And you know what? At this point, I think the Browns are having fun. I think the Browns
Thank God.
yeah, we're enjoying it and having a good time out there. And it's
Been a drought. I mean, it hasn't been fun. We had our moments last year, but then when we lost Miles and we went through a losing streak, it wasn't fun anymore. It was a real struggle, and then we got clobbered in the last game, I think, of the year. So that left a bad taste in our mouth. And of course, they were second guessing Baker and this and that and the other thing, and led to a lot of changes, all of which have been, great. I can't imagine, McCarthy being happy with the way things turned out in Dallas this year. His team quit on him last night. They didn't play hard once they got down. They made mistakes. I mean, terrible mistakes. We made 13 penalties in our game, and I think most of them were in the second half. So you can't do that. You have to play 4 quarters. But our guys are motivated. Stefanski has done an outstanding job. I think he's coach of the year by far. He just has to finish it out. He's got to get the guys to play hard for the next 4 weeks. And if he does, he's going to reap the rewards of it. I don't think we're going to go to the Super Bowl, but playoffs and then win a playoff game or be competitive in a playoff game. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, it's funny when you bring up McCarthy, because he's had a putrid year. His guys have quit on him, and I can't help but go back to that initial press conference when I'm sure you guys remember when someone in the Dallas media, asked McCarthy, tell us about, watching the entire 2019, season, because he said he watched every game from 2019, and he, with a straight face, looked at Jerry, looked back out, and was like, "Yeah, I got to be honest. I lied about that. I didn't watch every game. I was trying to get a job."
Yeah.
And I'm
I
wondering.
remember that.
Yeah,
I
and
remember that.
I'm wondering if Jerry, like, if I remember it, Jerry sure as hell remembers it.
Yeah. Now I wonder what the leash on him is going to be.
Yeah.
Because he was brought in because he had the ring, because he had success. They needed to move off Jason Garrett, and not to make any like a ton of excuses, but first time when you have a new head coach that comes in and then you have devastating injuries to your offense and your defense. Losing your quarterback when Dak Prescott was setting NFL records. It's the thing is that
he was setting records, but they were losing even with Prescott.
They're deep. They lost their big defense guy.
We killed them. It was a great comeback by them, but they were losing. They were in trouble, I think, right from the get-go, even with their obvious losses to their offensive line and some of their key players. but Prescott had him at least offensively scoring some points, and that all came to a halt when he went down.
Well, if you look at the Cowboys, they gave up the first game 20 points, lost. Second game they gave up 39 points and won because you said that miracle. Then they gave up 38, 49, 34, 38, 25. I mean, they haven't played well all year. I mean, they just gave up 41 to Washington and then 34 to the Ravens yesterday. The Cowboys can't play defense. I mean, they're scoring points, but I don't know how relevant those points are. And I don't think Jerry Jones is going to give McCarthy a very long leash. I'll tell you that if I had to guess.
Yeah.
And I think it probably does stem from that first comment that he made saying, I don't know if I watched every game, and that's a weird.
Yeah,
That's a weird thing to say in a press conference.
and especially when he follows it up with, I was trying to get a job. Like, come on.
Yeah, right. You don't say that out loud. You think it, but you don't say it out loud.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Speaking of coaching changes, what about Greg Williams getting sacked by the Jets? I'm glad he's not going to be there, because he's obviously out for blood against us.
Yeah.
He'd love to
didn't
beat
even
us.
think about that.
But now that he's gone, and maybe his son will be gone too, because I think they go in a tandem. But I'm glad he's not there, just from a motivational standpoint, because he's a tough coach. He hopefully gets his players up for the game. But obviously that call he made at the end, and in his defense, because you think, oh, that was a horrible call to call a blitz and a single coverage, with I don't know, 10 seconds left in the game, 15 seconds, whatever it was, and they throw the bomb and the guy's open by 10 yards. I mean, he just walked into the end zone. But one play before that, or it may have been one play before that, they played 3 deep, and the guy still got free. Mm-hmm. And if Carr had made a decent throw, they would have scored on that play. Yeah. So you're thinking, well, wait a second, I just played 3 deep, and he had all time in the world to throw the ball, and he almost did it. So now I'm going to blitz. But they don't talk about that. They just talk about how he got burned, and how could you call such a play with the game on the line like that? But that's coaching. You live and die by what your players do for you. That's for sure.
If you look at the Jets right now, 0-12 Jets have given up points allowed 353 points. The Browns have given up. Browns 9-3 have given up 321 points. Mm-hmm. I mean, and the big difference is the offense. They've only scored 180 points in offense, and we've scored 306. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I know they say defenses win championships, but at this point, if we can outscore you, 100 to whatever in the first half, all we got to do is hold on. I think it's more about, our special teams. And Dad, you were talking about this earlier, that Parkey's he's just making field goals.
Absolutely.
We light up for a 43-yard field goal, 47-yard field goal, 36-yard field goal. And in years past, with Zane Gonzalez and Siebert and all these guys.
Hold your breath.
Really, everybody since Phil left, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mean, it wasn't long ago that I was sitting in the dog pound, and Joseph was kicking warm-ups, and I'll never forget, he made the one, and the whole place erupted, because that's where we were. We couldn't make an extra point, let alone a field goal.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And that I think is what Barry saw in that first game. He's like, look, we're down. We go down, we fight hard, we score a touchdown, we're back in the game, and then the wind gets knocked out of our sails instantly by missing that field goal. And I really do think that was the momentum changing moment that we ended up losing that game, and we couldn't come back because every point matters, and it shouldn't. But you know what? Every point matters in young emotional teams. It gets into your psyche, and you can't recover from that, and that's why we dumped him. And Parkey,
I play a lot of golf, and you start missing you miss that first 2-foot putt, and a lot of times the guy's giving you foot and a half, they'll give it to you, and then all of a sudden towards the end of the match, it's a 3-footer or 2-footer, and it's clearly you have to make it, and it's an easy putt, and yet you're thinking about that one that you missed, that they didn't give you, and you missed it. And the same thing with a field goal kicker. I mean, he starts missing, and I think that's what got into Zerline's head the other night.
Yeah.
He missed one, then he missed another, then he missed another. I mean, and who was the really good? I guess Crosby on last year with Green Bay.
Yeah.
Did he miss 6 at one point, 6 in a row from one game to the next, and they still didn't cut him. They stayed with him, but what a horrible streak to have, missing 6 in a row. And then they jinxed the guy the other night. I don't know if you guys caught it.
Yeah, I
They
thought that was
jinxed
great.
the kicker, and he had 72 straight extra points. The guys jump off sides. They move it back 5 yards, and then he misses the kick. And I
was jumping through my kitchen at that point.
that was unbelievable. That was funny.
Hey, and you know what? If Zerline makes those kicks last night, I mean, you're looking at what, 4 minutes to go, and they're down by 1.
Yeah.
So
I mean, here's the thing too, about Parkey, that has to be noted. He was making field goals in terrible weather as well. Right?
Yeah,
Go back to those bad weather games. I think it was at least one that he made against. Let me go back to the Raiders game because I want to make sure that I'm getting this correct. He had
one where he hit a line drive that just cleared the crossbar by a foot or two.
Yep.
But it was a long one, but he kicked it like when I'm playing golf. Another analogy is when you're hitting into the wind, you want to keep the ball underneath the wind. You want to hit it so you hit down on it, and you don't want to sky it up in the air because anything can happen.
Right.
And that's what he did on that one. He pulled it off.
Yeah. I mean, against the Raiders, against the Texans, against the Eagles, in just horrible weather, boom, boom, boom. And then if you really look at it, I mean, that's the difference between winning and losing.
It really is.
I mean, the Bengals games, the Cowboys, I mean, that has been the difference. And it's tough because, you get the big plays from Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett and those guys, and then you get big touchdowns from Odell and Nick Chubb and stuff. But ultimately, in the NFL, when the talent level is so close, razor thin between everybody, it's executing on those little things are the difference between winning and losing. Look at the Jaguars game. When Moran took those points off the board.
Yeah, big.
I still can't believe that he did it.
Mm-hmm.
It ended up they lost the game because of that. Greg Williams doing all that blitz
is also of a 1-9 team that you take chances, you do things. Your season is gone already, so why not? They were losing, they were trying to get back. They needed maybe another point or two. I think if they were whatever 5-5, I don't think he would have done that. I think he would have kicked the extra point. That would have been the end. He would have stayed traditional and gone look at all the fourth down calls that teams are making more and more. They're not going with the field goal. They'd rather, 4th and 2, they'd rather go for it. It's so depressing. We make a stop and we got a 4th and 2. The old days, you kicked it, you punted it.
Yeah.
4th and 2, that was too long. No, nowadays, they don't think anything of that,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then also with Gillum, Gillum is a guy back there who it's just like I trust our special teams. I also know Mike and I have talked about this quite a bit with DPJ back there, and I trust him back there as well. Now I don't think he's not gonna do like an Eric Metcalf thing where he returns where he's a home run threat, but he's a consistent, I'm not gonna screw it up threat. And that's why we had Jarvis back there in previous years. We should not have our expensive star wide receivers back there fielding punts. So many bad things can happen. Those are positions that as a wide receiver or something like that, or that's how you earn your spot on your time on the field with those plays. But we had to, because we didn't have anybody back there that we trusted, right? And I really do think that Peoples-Jones was drafted for that role, right? That return man role. And then, hey, if we happen to need you, whatever, Odell goes down, great, here you go, you got a shot. And what does he do? Catches touchdowns.
That got hurt early on. Watson, was it Watson, or who was it? One of the guys we drafted. It was like a wide receiver, but he was also a punt returner, kick returner. But he got hurt.
Natson.
I'm sorry,
JoJo
Natson.
Yeah, Natson. Yeah, not Watson. Yeah. Natson.
And we never even got to see anything with JoJo.
Right. Yeah, but I think he was like the Metcalf type of guy. He had speed, he had agility, he could run one back, and certainly get you past the 25-yard line. These guys who fielded on the goal line, they got to go 25 yards to get even, and that's not easy to do. No. You're right. Special teams have done well, and they haven't hurt us like they've done it to us in the past. So keep our fingers crossed. Let's not jinx ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's hope that they continue to play well.
And we got big games coming up here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, speaking of playing well, and you and I, Mike, we've done our, I don't want to say bashing, but we've told it like it is. I guess really, is the way I could word it. But
I think I know where you're going here.
The past couple of games, Taki has stepped up his game.
Yep.
And Mac Wilson had a nice game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping, I'm really, really, really hoping that we're starting to see the maturation of those two guys, and they're gonna continue to to improve the rest of the way. I think it was you and I that were talking about it briefly, but. And I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that what I'm about to throw on the table is what's going to happen and hold me to it.
Mm-hmm.
But living where I live, this season really has a, what was it, 2018 when the Eagles won the Super Bowl? 2017, whatever it was. But this team sort of feels like that team. The Eagles, they were good that year, but there was nothing to write home about. But man, they just got hot at the right time, and they could do no wrong. And we'll see how the next couple of weeks play out. But I don't know why. I just that's the feel that I have for this team right now. And man, I hope I'm right. But
I feel the same way. I was actually thinking about that. I was dropping off my kids this morning, and I was like, that Eagles team won it. And just like you said, they got hot at the right time, and then they just kept going. Yeah. And I playing devil's advocate, right? And trying to not be a negative Nancy, but just the reality is, in order for us to really be a Super Bowl contending team, we can't have one of the bottom third defenses. No, and I do understand that if we're scoring 40, 50 points, then we're going to be playing a lot of prevent, and that's going to open up opportunities to, for them to score points as well, because really we're not really playing against the other team as much as we're playing against the clock. I understand that. But it is, if you look at how many games we've played this season where we've given up 30 plus points, it's like half the games. and so then you go, and then it's like, okay, when you get into the playoffs, when you're playing against the Bills and the Chiefs and the Steelers and these teams, you can't give up 30 points because they're just like us, and they want to find a way to win just like we do. So if we can make those improvements on defense, and Mike, you know what? It could be, I know that we've criticized Taki and Mac Wilson.
Yeah.
Right. But it wasn't like we wanted to throw them out of the building.
No.
We just wanted them to play up to their potential, or God forbid, exceed their potential, exceed their draft position. And now that we're starting to see that, who knows? Maybe we do. And you know what? Sendejo's been playing better.
He has.
And he's not a Pro Bowl level.
No, but you're right. He's been playing well. And like Taki, for example, and you and I talked about it weeks ago. For him, he wasn't recognizing what was going on in front of him. It was taking him way too long to process. And by the time he processed, the play was over. And you wonder now, and we'll see as the weeks go on, has the game slowed down for him? Has he, gotten the grasp of the defensive concepts and, watching more film and he's getting it. And now we're starting to see, the fruit of the labor, which is now he's able to just react. And now we're seeing that, that athleticism and that speed. Right. And man, we're going to need it on Monday night, because I'm almost certain that he's going to be the one that's going to be spying.
Hey, new subscriber on Twitch, Redhead13. Rachel, thank you so much for being a new. That's my first subscriber on Twitch in literally year, because my Twitch channel had been dormant for so long because I was on YouTube. And American Saxon came in and he's like, okay, are you doing Twitch and YouTube? Are you leaving YouTube for Twitch? What's the story? Break it down for us. The goal will eventually be long-term to have the live content be on Twitch, and the VODs and the hype videos and stuff remain on YouTube. It's not going to happen right away though, guys. I'm going to do the multicast where I'm going to both, because right now we probably have like close to 40 viewers on YouTube, and then 6 or 7, somewhere around that on Twitch. So it's going to be both for a little while, but we do want to start conditioning you guys to head over to Twitch, because eventually it's going to be on Twitch. And the reason is YouTube is just they won't allow us into the monetization program. And we're not doing it for greed. I mean, all of us have day jobs where we make money. It's just more about like, it's engagement level. You can't do super chats. You can't do, you can't get bits and all those donation type stuff, which enhances the show. And then the revenue that we do make from that, we can do for giveaways and a whole bunch of cool stuff. So that's why we're eventually going to be moving it over to Twitch. We're already at an affiliate level with Twitch. I've been an affiliate for a long time. So that's why we're going over in that direction.
Can I embarrass myself for a second?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we've been at this now for what time? I don't even know what time it is. I never know what time.
It's about an hour.
It could be 1:00 in the morning and we're still talking football. But anyway, so it's taken me an hour going back and forth between Twitch and YouTube to finally find the chat in Twitch. But I let the record show.
You found it.
I found it. And I got it.
Well, Jones24152 said, I don't know what the comment was, but he said Ristano hit the nail on the head. So something resonated with Jones24152 over there on Twitch. So I want to marry the two communities, right? I want to marry them together and eventually have it live in one place. I do love YouTube. YouTube's where I'd ultimately love to be. I'd love to get in touch with somebody at YouTube. I reached out to some people who had some influence, maybe to get in touch with some of the big guys at YouTube, but unless you've got 1 million subscribers on YouTube, they really don't care, because you're not driving enough revenue for them to even waste time thinking about you. On Twitch, it's a little different. You can grow, and I know it's mostly a gaming platform, people think, but Twitch is really the number one category that they have is the just chatting category. So, and it allows me to do some gaming, and it allows me to obviously do our Brownie post game live channels there. So as long as we can do it on both, we'll do it on both, and then we'll eventually go over. So don't worry, guys. YouTube guys, you can hang out on YouTube. I see you there in chat. Twitch people, I got you there on chat as well. So this multicast thing that I'm doing with Streamlabs OBS allows us to do it.
So maybe when I get good enough that I'm not getting knifed from behind before I could even eye up a shot, once I get past that and I'm good enough, maybe then I could game on here with you. You
absolutely could. Yes.
I mean, I'll be the weak link. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But
hey, I mean, honestly, like some of the guys that I game with Cleveland Cam, who's he's got to be the best Warzone player in in the state of Cleveland. I honestly don't know. I'm sure there's probably some really good gamers in Cleveland, but he just embarrasses me. So, and
You're
I
like
play
a master. So that's
I play a lot, and he
mind blowing.
Yeah, he embarrasses me, but I mean, he's playing with pros and stuff like that as well. So like real big boys, but yeah, Twitch is awesome. It's I streamed on there for like 2 years and got to the affiliate level, and then kind of went dormant. And then when YouTube's kind of just messing around, they won't pick up the phone and talk to me. So I said, you know what, that's fine. I'll do it on both, and then we'll see what happens. I was thinking, and I don't know if I should do this or not, but the head of YouTube Gaming, which is like their live streaming stuff, right? So it's their version of Twitch, YouTube Gaming, is a Browns fan, diehard Browns fan. So the head of YouTube Gaming is a diehard Browns fan. And I'm going to be posting that hype video tomorrow. And it's probably going to get 30,000 views. Because I'm sure Reflog Reflog, I guess that's what it is, Reflog. Chris is going to retweet it. Big Play Dave, Sir Yacht, all the big guys. Rachel's going to retweet it as well, I'm sure. So, and it's going to get a lot of views. So I wonder if that guy sees it and was like, why am I tagged in this? Right? With this Twitch stuff all over it and moving over to Twitch. Maybe. Yeah, Rachel, maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if I want to do it yet or not, because I don't want to like him to think I'm trolling him or something like that and block me or something. But yeah, I think YouTube, sorry, they just don't care as much. I love the community here. The YouTube community is, we had our biggest audience. I think my dad and I had 200 plus concurrent for the pre and post game shows. And then
225.
And then the views on the pre and post game show are, in the multi-thousand right now, which is great. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. But it is. American Saxon says, happy birthday, Mike. I guess he missed your birthday last week.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Another year older.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Let's go ahead and do let's do the Baker Mayfield jersey giveaway, guys. I think we should probably do that. Now, usually we do the 1 to 100 thing. Because I'm trying to drive people over to Twitch, I decided to do it with Gleam to get some of those people to you had made it mandatory. They had to follow on Twitch to be able to do that, which seems like it worked out because we got 9 people watching on Twitch right now. So maybe some of these people, Rachel's over there, Rachel says she missed your birthday and she apologizes, Mike.
No problem.
But I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now I'm going to do it off camera, and then I'm going to bring it up on camera, because I think when I pick the winner, it's going to show the email address and contact information. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try to do it so then I can kind of just crop it and say, okay, it's this person won. Because I don't want to, people don't want to put their public information out there on a stream, stuff like that. So I'm going ahead, I'm clicking it right now. The entrants are over. So you can't do it anymore anyway. So boom, picking the winner now. It's drawing. One potential winner, only 38 users. That was it. There's 1 in 38 chance of winning. Here we go. Picking it. Boom. And the winner is Tanner Cornell from Quakerstown, PA. Tanner Cornell is the winner. I don't think I know Tanner. And this is potentially a new big fan. And yes, it has his information. I guess Tanner could be a girl as well. It has Tanner's information here, so I'm not gonna post it on the screen. But I do have it, and I can block out all the personal information when I tweet it out as the winner, so you guys will see it. J Rod, thank you for the follow. That's another cool thing about the Twitch stuff. All of my alert boxes work, whereas for some reason alert box doesn't work as well on just YouTube. I don't know, for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how it pops up.
That's fun.
Hey guys, I think I'm going to jump out of here as your guest and let you guys do your normal show. I appreciate you having me on. I enjoy listening to you guys. I jump in and out in the chat when I see you guys talking about something that I need to comment on. But I need to get out of here now, and have a great show, and we'll see you on Monday evening, I guess. We'll do the pregame, and then we'll do the postgame late at night.
Yeah, it'll
which I'm
be a late. I think
not
we're gonna
looking-
go live on the pregame, Dad, at about 6 o'clock on Monday.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna
All
go
right, I'll be ready.
6 o'clock on Monday for the pregame, and then the postgame show could be 11:30 or whatever. It's gonna be a late night, but Dad,
All right.
appreciate you coming, and
Okay.
thanks for joining the Wednesday show. And we'll be back. For everybody who's new here, my dad is the official co-host of the Brownie postgame show on our pre and postgame. So, Dad, appreciate it. I'll talk to you
All
later.
right, thanks,
Dan.
Michael. Enjoy your birthday. Take care.
Thanks, Dan. Have a
Bye,
good
Dad.
one.
All right.
It's always fun to chat with your dad.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have, for everybody listening, this show probably could have started at like 7:45, and only because me and Dan were talking the whole time, did we start a little late because we were chatting, Mike?
No. I was trying to mess with the overlay stuff, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough, and I haven't mastered the overlays for when we have a third guest on yet. So
The
I'm
Twitch
playing
looks fabulous though with the three of us.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah, it looks really good.
As I'm playing with the overlay stuff here right now, it's just tough, and I haven't mastered adding in that third guest as of yet. It was even tough when we had Mike Muhlenfeld on this weekend on the YouTube pregame show. I was like, I don't know where to put him on the overlay. Like, I don't have that much space. Our faces take up so much, and we have this little itty bitty one in the middle. But I think it worked out as long as we had the video there. And I think there
was cool.
I think there are some better software. We use Google Hangouts for this, as you guys can tell. But I guess we could probably explore like Zoom and all those. I need to be able to actually freeze you,
Yeah.
Mike, and then maybe, I don't know. There's got to be a way for me to do it. I just haven't figured it out yet. So
if somebody can figure it out, it's you.
well, I'll mess around with it and get it, because it's really not that difficult. There's a lot of people that ask me like, how do I do this? How do I do that? I'll every time I put a hype video out there, I get comments from people like, where do you get the clips from? Where do you get this and that? And I'm like, just Google it. Like you can, it's out there, like, but I like to help out people as well as we can. I want to give some shout outs to some people in chat. S. Zupan's here, Cleveland BCI, Jackie Haynes, Ryan Burlow, American Saxon, Paramjot Sandhu. What's going on, dude? Sorry if I murdered your name there. Mids Plug. I think we had Derek Jones is here. Want to make sure I get everybody here from both the Twitch side and the YouTube side. But yeah, good stuff. I mean, it's still insane that we're 9-3. Like,
I know.
If we go 10-3, let me throw this scenario at you. Because now that the Steelers have lost, there is a potential that we could actually be playing for the AFC North title potentially January 3rd. Do you think am I in a pipe dream here, or is this something that actually could be a reality?
I will say this, because I mean, from a pure statistics game, it's possible. Now, from a is it realistic, from a on the field have to play the game perspective,
right?
So I think Monday night sets the tone, and then obviously, you guys could be like, yeah, no shit, Mike, but you win Monday,
okay,
and then now you won that extreme primetime game, right? Because I mean, this is for all intent and purpose, like, this is our primetime game. Like, I don't really count the Thursday night game. Like, this is Monday Night Football. So you get the Ravens coming to our house,
right?
And let's say we win, right? I'm not gonna say whether we win or lose yet. We'll save that as we do every week for the end.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say they come into our house, we win. then then in my heart of hearts, it's the Giant game, because that could be a trap game. But if we can go then to the Meadowlands or MetLife, whatever it's called now,
Yeah.
because as you and I've talked about it for weeks, the Giants have a very solid defense.
Right.
Wayne Gallman has been playing well. Their receivers have been playing well. They've got Ingram, who's always has big play capability at the tight end spot, and Daniel Jones will be back for all intent and purpose. So I think you go in Monday night and you win, and then you go on the road to New York on a Sunday night in front of the world, in front of all of your peers, and you win. Then if you ask me that question on that Wednesday, I'll tell you that we win out.
I think that's fair. I think in years past, I'd be worried about the Jets.
Yeah.
Because of course, but with Stefanski, and it goes back to that mantra that we've talked about, that we're trying to go 1-0 every week.
Yep.
And it forces them to stay in that mentality of don't look ahead, don't look at the next game. And the players are believing it. When they talked to Nick Chubb and they interviewed him and they asked him about the playoffs, he's like, I don't think about it at all. Like, what are your thoughts on potentially winning the AFC North now that the Steelers lost? I don't think about it at all.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to your other point, about the social media stuff where Miles said, hey, there's a chance now. So it's like, hey guys, come on, come back in, come back home and
Very
chill.
Good point.
Let's look and just take it one game at a time. Cause you've got, they have the Bills at the Bills, then the Bengals at the Bengals. Then they have one home game out of their last 4, which is the Colts, which is not going to be, it's not going to be an easy one because the Colts are going to need it. So they're going to be playing tough, as tough as they can. And then we got the Steelers, in Cleveland, Sunday night versus the G-Men. That game, I think everybody's a little bit worried about that because I do think they have a legitimate defense.
Yeah.
And I think Daniel Jones is better than I think people think he is, or really what his statistics show, and it's certainly his win-loss.
Yep.
So they're going to be up for that game. It's in their house, which we do play well in New York. I mean, we played well last year, right?
Absolutely.
So there's no guarantees in this league. There really isn't. If you would have told me that Washington was going to beat the Steelers last weekend, I would have laughed at you.
Yeah. Their defense is solid though, man.
With Chase Young playing, yes.
Yeah.
But we really didn't get Chase Young,
No, he got hurt, yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of dodged the bullet there. And then, Dwayne Haskins is he's still learning the pro game where you bring in Alex Smith, and it's a whole nother dynamic when you bring in a guy like that. So unfortunately they ran into the buzzsaw Washington football team where we didn't really have that squad.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at the Steelers, if I'm a Steelers fan and I'm being honest, I am nervous now about the last 4 games. Right? This is the fourth quarter for them, and this is an uphill battle fourth quarter. But they took care of business for, in the first 12 games going 11-1. There's not a single team in the NFL other than maybe the Chiefs that would be disappointed with an 11-1 record.
Yeah.
So.
And and you and I talked about it, I think maybe last week. If you look at the Steelers purely from the defensive side of the ball, losing Devin Bush hurt big time.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And you lose a guy like that, it's tough, but next man up, you can make up the majority of the difference, if you will. I mean, you're never going to be that guy, but you could mask certain things. But then when you lose a guy like Bud Dupree on the other side of Watt, now all of a sudden you went from a ferocious dog with really, really, really sharp teeth,
yep,
to a dog with kind of filed down teeth, and now you don't scare me as much. and I'm going to jump the fence and I'm going to take my chances. And I think that's where I mean, Washington's offense had no business competing with uh with the Steelers the other night. I mean,
in
Antonio
Pittsburgh.
Gibbs, yeah, I mean Antonio Gibson was down after one series. You had a you had a collaboration of McKissick and Barber. I mean, McLaurin's solid, but I just think that if you said to me, Mike, which out of the Ravens and the Steelers, which one do you think will peak more than the other? And I think it would be the Ravens. But then at the same time, I got to tell you, and maybe I am far off and I'm living in a pipe dream right now. I don't know, but they don't scare me at all. Like the Ravens defense did not impress me last night. And if you shut down Lamar, and I know it's a tall task, but if you contain him, they're not going to be able to match us touchdown for touchdown.
Well, I think the big difference is between what the Ravens, the first game of the season, and where the Ravens are now is I think we've kind of gelled as a team, right? And our players were getting used to a new system, a new vocabulary, a new, really just everything. I mean, when you bring in a new coaching staff and a lot of new players, and then you play against a team that's been there and been playing together for years on years and had that stability at that head coaching position, it is it's a tall order, and we got smacked pretty bad. Which that first game of the season, I mean, it was a gut punch, but it wasn't as bad as the Tennessee one.
Yeah.
Last year. And
then I was there live.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. That it was like dark. It was a dark afternoon for me when that happened. I couldn't believe it.
It was terrible. It was. And remember when they were down on the goal line, and I still think that Baker hurt his knee on that play, and he wasn't right the rest of the year.
Where he slid out of bounds?
And if you no, the one where he got sacked in the end zone, it was the same play that I think it was. Who was it? Our left tackle, what's his name? I can't think of the
Robinson.
G-Rob. He got ejected. He kicked the guy in the head.
Yeah.
And then Kendall Lamb came in, and then on the same play on the goal line, Baker hurt his knee. Kendall Lamb tore a knee, and then he went out. And then they had to move. Was it Hubbard from the right side over to?
I think it was.
All I know is that was right on the 1 yard line in the dog pound. And man, we went with such hope and excitement. And I mean, it's almost, it sums it up, honestly. And I think me and you talked about this the other day. The day before the Titans game, every time when we fly in, we always, we get to the hotel or whatnot. And then I always want to, we'll go grab a beer at the Winking Lizard or some place like that. And then we always got to stop at the team store because I like to, look around without a crowd, and I'm always buying shit. But anyway, so we had the Color Rush jersey, and they had a Baker in, they had in my size, and I think it was like $149 or something like that. It was the Vapor jersey, and I still get like a little discount for being a season ticket holder. Anyway, I dropped a shit ton of money on that jersey. They got their ass handed to them. That whole year was terrible. And now, if you go online, you can get the same jersey for $38.99. That sums up that whole first game and year for me.
No, Mike, are you talking about the Nike Legend?
Yeah, I think it's the on-field Vapor or whatever. I think it's it's all stitched and.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I was gonna say the Legend one, the T-shirt one, that's $21.
Oh, you know what? That was did I ever tell you that story, Mike, about that jersey?
I remember you telling me something like you thought it was a real jersey, and then it turned out it was like the T-shirt kind, and you were like really upset about it.
I did, and the funny thing about that was, it was the Thursday night against the Jets where Baker made his debut, and we know the rest is history. But I had been stalking the site because they were talking about, hey, we're going to put out the color rush jersey or whatever. So I mean, every 20 minutes I'd be looking at refresh. Yeah, nothing.
Yep.
So we drove to that game. So when we got to the hotel, we checked in and got comfortable, and I looked. I was like, oh, let me see if the jersey's in. And sure as shit, the Miles jersey was on there. And I clicked on it, and my size was sold out. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So we were just ready to leave to head down to the game. And I was like, you know what? I want one of those color rush jerseys bad. I got a feeling Baker's going to do something soon. I'm just going to buy the Baker one. And I bought the jersey, and we went to the game. And needless to say, we know what happened. And then
Yep.
you couldn't find a Baker jersey for a long time after that.
You know how funny it was, when they came out, because we had those awful, blocky, terrible Hugh Jackson era jerseys for a while, right?
Yeah.
And nobody wanted them because there wasn't really players on our team that you wanted to even celebrate for all intents and purposes. And two, they were ugly as hell. So then we come out with these awesome color rush jerseys, which had the essence of what we wanted as a Browns fan. Simple, 2 colors, a name, and maybe a couple swooshes, numbers, name, 2 colors, done. And everybody lost their mind.
Yeah.
And then that's why it was sold out, because you were like, you can't. Nobody wanted the official jersey, right?
Yep.
And now it's weird because the new color rush jersey, right, that doesn't have the stripes on the side, I honestly don't prefer that one.
I know.
I think
it's growing on me, but
it's missing something,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it is. So I haven't bought the new color rush jersey. What I really like the Nike Legend the light jersey, right? Yep. Because I know they have some sales right now for the holidays and everything like that for the regular jersey, but I really just like the Legend one, and they don't have Chubb, so I think the only ones they have in Legend right now are Miles. No, it might actually just be Denzel, Ward, and Baker and OBJ in Legend right now online. I gotta check. I'm not 100% sure.
You know what? While you talk, I'm gonna look.
Yeah, please do, because I want to get a Nick Chubb, but I don't want to. It's not that I don't want to spend the extra money for it. I don't care about the money on it. It's more about, like, I just want the style jersey. And my dad's over there on Twitch. How's it going, Dad? The Nike Legend.
You want the Legend?
Yeah, Legend, and really I want the white one. The white.
And you want Chubb?
I'd really like to get Chubb.
Okay.
But I think my wife actually might be getting me a Chubb jersey for Christmas.
That'd be nice.
You know what the thing is? Like, I have so many jerseys, and I almost never wear them anymore because we don't win when I wear them. So I don't wear them. I got the Bernie Oh Baby shirt on from GV Art right now, because we just do so much better when I wear a damn t-shirt. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, you are SOL on the. There's no Chubb jerseys except for the old one. And it was, speaking of jersey, I think I told you this. I honestly haven't seen I've seen my parents a handful of times since, everything going on. I don't want to get into it because I know we all get depressed talking about it. But the last time that we went to go see them before Thanksgiving, my dad was like, "Hey, I bought this a while ago. I forgot." And I was down the basement and I remembered, and I snagged it, and here, have it. And it was the old style white Baker jersey in a kid's extra large. Okay. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's like, if it doesn't fit you, whatever.
When you say old style, you don't mean the Al Lerner one. You're talking about the Hugh Jackson era?
Yeah, Hugh Jackson era.
Okay.
So I'll be honest. It's the most comfortable jersey I've ever worn. It fits me like a t-shirt. Like, I love the damn thing. And to boot, we're 4-0 in that thing.
Hey, man.
So that has become like my new favorite piece of Brown's, wardrobe, if you will.
Well, the other thing too is, because we have the Homage and Sabo apparel, and I always feel bad on the pre and post game show if I'm wearing a jersey and I'm not wearing one of their shirts that they're giving me free, or whatever, they're helping us out, giving all these freebies away. I should at least show it and wear it and talk about them, right? The Wednesday show is a little different because we've got a different audience for the Wednesday show. So I wear whatever the heck I want. GV art's awesome. Wearing the Twitch hat to celebrate the eventual transition over to the Twitch platform. So doing that today, but yeah, it's all about whatever's working. Just keep doing it, man. Like, cause it's happening. Don't mess it up. Just keep going with it.
Shaved.
Yeah. I haven't showered in several weeks.
It's several weeks, but I mean, hey, just keep deodorizing and you'll be all right.
Yeah. Just Febreze all over.
Hey, speaking of Baker, I got to tell you, the past few weeks, I mean,
Impressive.
he, I think, has finally gotten comfortable in the offense. I think that he's getting his swagger back.
Yep.
And if looking back on the film, and I didn't get through the whole thing, but I went through a good majority of it. And in terms of swagger, to me, it's almost like rookie Baker swagger is back in terms of, the way that he fakes the handoff, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
He did it on the goal line, going right to left, and it seems like he's having fun again, and the game has now started to slow down,
It's
and
clicking.
it really is, Mike. And the plays that I saw, he's going through his progressions. I mean, you cannot doubt that he's going through his reads and he's getting the ball out to the open guy. And there was a couple plays where there was one in particular where there was a guy out in the flat. I think it was in the flat, or it was like a short out route, and he dropped back, he scanned the field, and he pumped to that route outside, and then came back and
Yep.
I think it might have been Higgins that he hit inside. And then the touchdown to Jarvis, I mean, he went through his reads, looked somebody off, and then came back to him and then threw a bullet in the only place that
Right through the lane.
Yeah, the only place that anybody could get it, or I should say, he put it in a place where the only person that could get it was Jarvis.
Yeah,
So
he threw him open.
and again, you and I, especially me, I went through a period of harshness, and only because I didn't think that it was coming together and that he was ever going to get it. And,
Well,
and he's
here's
proven us.
Here's the thing. We've been through a lot of ups and downs, and it comes down to expectations. And we had an expectation that he was going to be the guy, the number one quarterback. We see Lamar Jackson getting the MVP. We see, we see Josh Allen really starting to light it up and become the kind of quarterback that we were hoping that we were going to get.
Yeah.
On the flip side, you saw Rosen and Darnold kind of flounder. And then you see the other thing is you see Joe Burrow come right out of the gate looking like, like he's going to be
you're right.
a fantastic quarterback. And we're sitting there and we're like, where is this? And it really just started game one. That opening drive when he threw that interception, it was like, oh no, like this isn't good.
Right.
But then if you really think back to all the last couple games, right? Taking the Steelers game and the Ravens game aside, because those were the games that were bad, and the Steelers game was probably his worst game of the season. But then the Raiders game, think about how many drop passes happened in the Raiders. You actually catch those passes. And I get it; it was wet and cold, and like those are passes that our receivers are typically making when they can actually catch a dry ball. But Baker put it on him.
Yeah, he really did.
And it wasn't his fault. I mean, Baker's not the one who catches it. Baker's the one who throws it. On the flip side of it, we have Baker also, he has some of the best athletes in the world, on his team as well. So they make the circus catches for him too, that maybe a lot of other players wouldn't. So it kind of does balance out. But I got to tell you, I think that this is what we were waiting to see. You and I talked about this for the last couple of weeks. What's our next test? Right. And he's passing the test every week. We're going by. There are a couple of things that I'd like to see him improve upon. Number one, he's got to stop with the intentional groundings. You know,
Yeah, it's
the,
frustrating
you,
sometimes.
they're not good. The intentional grounding's got to stop. He's got to figure out a way to throw it further or just not do it. Take the sack, do whatever you got to do, but don't have an intentional grounding, right?
Yeah.
That's one. And then, gosh, I mean, on the other side, that I had somebody actually leave a comment on on the post game show because I opened the show really angry, about Baker fumbling on that quarterback sneak, which could have resulted in us losing the game.
It absolutely could have.
And that, again, like you and I are heavily invested in this.
Yeah.
Beyond the monetary investment that we make, you know, that all we're doing all day long is talking about the Browns on Twitter. It occupies our mind all the time. Well, first thing I do when I wake up, I look. I'm sure you do the same thing.
Yep.
We have YouTube channels and all this kind. So this is a big deal to us, and we've been waiting so long for it. It's not that we don't want. I wanted Baker to succeed the second we drafted him. I'm like, that's our guy, you know. And it wasn't like that for Deshaun and for Kessler and Johnny and Colt McCoy and all those guys. The last guy that I wanted to be successful was Brady Quinn. That was the last guy that I was really into. This is going to be our guy, and that didn't work out. But now with Baker, and it was really that Jets game. You know, when we're down 14-0 and he came in and won that game, he bought a lot of leeway with me.
Yeah.
And also to make it through Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley, Greg Williams, Freddie Kitchens. You know, one of the Browns media guys said it on Twitter like this. Imagine this could have been year 2 of Kevin Stefanski.
And you know, to your point, and I don't know if you saw it. I tweeted it out. I think yesterday or the day before. I can't keep track of my tweets anymore. But how lucky are we that the dude was still there?
Dude, Stefanski?
Yeah, like we're lucky that he was there.
Well,
but then to your point, and you know what's funny is, and it was part of my tweet, but everybody was so difficult on DePodesta, and meanwhile, he was right. He was right.
Yeah.
And if we would have listened to him, and not we, because I'm nobody, but if the powers to be would have listened to him last year, if in fact those stories are true, and I don't have a reason to believe that they're not. I mean, you're absolutely right, Mike. I mean, could you imagine? We're 9-3 in a pandemic year where there was virtual rookie camp, there was virtual OTAs, there was a scaled down training camp.
Mm-hmm.
OBJ goes out with a knee. Chubb was out for a while. Guys missing games for COVID. You name it.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude's got us at 9-3. And they believe in this dude. Like, they love this guy. They believe in him. And they would bleed and die on the field for him. It's evident. You could see it. Could you imagine, Mike, if this was year 2 of this? What I mean, it doesn't get any better really than 9-3 right now. But
I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And to your point about how lucky we are, you know, luck is cyclical. You know,
yeah,
it comes and goes. You look at the turnover stuff. We were lighting it up in turnovers, then kind of the luck fairy goes away for a little while.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it should even out over time, right? That's what luck does. And if you look at us. And this is the same thing that's happened with quarterbacks and bust after. You can't bust every draft, every player all the time.
Yeah.
You can't bust every quarterback, every defensive player, every wide receiver. And the same thing has happened with coaches. We have busted on coach after coach after coach after coach. And I think with coaching, it's a lot of it is, and even with players to a certain degree, it's what situation that they get dropped into. So you think about the Jets. Now they're talking about Bill Cowher might be available. He might
I
be
did see
willing to
that.
come out of the booth, or not even the booth, the commentary spot on Fox or wherever the heck he is. So he might come out at this stage in life with nothing left to prove, because he might get that first pick, and he might be able to get like a guy like Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
If I'm Bill Cowher, I don't know what he's. I mean, it's been a long time since Bill Cowher coached.
Very,
It's a
very long
different football game right now, and the energy level that it takes to be successful. And I don't care if you're getting the greatest quarterback of all time. He's an old guy.
You know what you could liken it to? Remember when Joe Gibbs tried to come back that last time, and it was just, you could just tell like the game had passed him by. As sad as it was,
Yeah.
as great as Joe Gibbs was, his time between the lines was over, and he needed to go back to Joe Gibbs Motorsports, and it
You
was
know,
evident.
it was like every Washington coach too, like
Yeah.
with Schottenheimer when he went to Washington and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then I think back to the most successful Browns coaches. When you get them at what time, what time in your career, what time in your life, right? I really think that getting Kevin Stefanski at this stage in his life, with the amount of energy he has and all of that. Plus, he seems like he's a really stable guy from just a general balance of life standpoint. He looks like he's got a good family. He's got a good head on his shoulders. It's just like the right time to get a guy like that.
I agree.
Whereas if we would have gone down the path of Mike McCarthy, a retread guy, it's not working out for him in Dallas so far. But again, we talked about Dak Prescott going out and stuff like that. Who knows? But there's also, to my other point, is yes, we're doing great with Stefanski, but the wild card iffy situation right now is Joe Woods.
Yeah.
Joe Woods is a guy that, he comes from a defensive backs coaching position, which arguably he did pretty well. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl, so it's not a bad thing to do. But he's never been a defensive coordinator. He was never calling plays. And it might show a little bit, right?
Yep.
I mean, those are growing pains that you have to eventually get comfortable with, right, into that spot. And I think the verdict is still out on Joe Woods. I'm not willing to give him a pass yet. I want to see now, although again, we've talked about this, the injury side of the defense, he's not playing, he's not cooking with all the fresh ingredients that he was hoping for. And that should be noted. But I think if I'm Kevin Stefanski and I'm looking at this, am I happy with where I am on defense? Is it a personnel thing or is it a coaching thing? And is it a scheme type thing? Because in defense, a coach is critically important on defense.
Oh, absolutely. And it's you're talking defense, and as you're talking defense, I'm scanning the PFF scores right now. And believe it or not, when you go down the list, I mean, our guys are improving, which again it's what we want at this time of the year. But like if I look, and hopefully Ronnie will be back soon. He was 13th out of 90 safeties, so obviously playing well. T. Mitch, he's got a decent score, 44 of 125. So I mean, he's holding his own over there. Kevin Johnson was 90th of 125. So he's from a PFF statistical standpoint, he's not lighting anything on fire. But I mean, again, this isn't, the numbers aren't everything, as we both know, and he's been holding his own. So, we'll see how that goes. But Sendejo, as much as we've said, he looks much improved or whatever. I mean, he's 86 and 90, and Carl Joseph is 80 of 90. So I mean, the deep back end of our secondary is just, not very good from a PFF standpoint. But then you look at the linebackers, right? And we're seeing improvement. Malcolm Smith, 15 of 86, and he's been solid all year long. You look at Taki, Mike. When I tell you where Taki is in the ranking out of 86 linebackers, you're going to be like, "Are you shitting me?"
I want to know. And then, by the way, I've been so tempted to get a PFF subscription, but I don't want to do it because I look forward to this segment of our show because I like when you have it and you tell me about it because it's fun.
It is fun.
How much is the PFF subscription, by the way?
There's the Elite, which is $200 a year, and that has like all the bells and whistles. We're talking every game. It'll give you like the actual game number. Like I don't get the game number. I have the overall. So I rely on like PFF Cleveland will throw the numbers out there or whatnot for the game.
Yeah.
So I'll look at that, but from eventually maybe I'll maybe next season
we might be
I'll
able
go
to do
crazy.
it. I might be able to do it through the Patreon stuff. And if we get some subscribers, we got one subscriber on Twitch already. Rachel is our one Twitch subscriber already, which is awesome. By the way, Twitch,
Very cool.
for you guys who are watching, to sub to us if you have Amazon Prime, which I mean at this point,
I should
should
be part owner of Amazon. I get a pack. I'm like the creeper in the window looking for the Amazon guy every day. I buy too much shit.
Oh, the same way. But if you have Amazon Prime, it's free to subscribe to somebody on Twitch. So you So if you subscribe, Mike, if you subscribe to the Brownie Postgame channel, we'll actually get monetarily, get the advantage of getting a couple bucks a month. I think like $1 or $2 a month, just from Amazon Prime. You just got to link your account. Super easy to do. In Twitch, I actually have a little tab that says sub free with Amazon Prime. You link it in, click the subscribe button. Boom, that's $2. But I think between Patreon and some of the subscriber stuff that we're doing, going into next year, I think we'll get a PFF, the ultimate PFF, whatever the highest level is, and obviously I'll give you a piece of it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
But
We'll get it.
So
because it's important. I honestly love seeing how these guys break it down. Like, and I love you tell me about it. So it's great.
Well, you're gonna love what I'm about to tell you. So ready for Talkie?
Yes.
Now, if you and I have notes here, but I'm not going to bore us while I go back through them. But I'm almost certain that there was a point in time where Talkie was like, I don't know, 80 of 86 or 79 of 86 or something like that.
Yeah. It was only a couple weeks ago.
Now, on the flip side of that, even though we see some good things starting to happen a little bit for Mac Wilson, he's still at the bottom of the barrel as far as PFF linebackers go. However, back to the good news. Talkie is 21st out of 86. So that's an outstanding jump
it is.
that he has made.
Talkie and Mac Wilson are going to have they're going to continue because Mac Wilson was injured, right?
Yep.
So I actually gave him a big pass on that. Talkie we were just waiting. Finally, Talkie's felt like once that interception, that pick six happened, I was like, okay, I think he's got enough confidence that he can play in this league now, and confidence of the coaches and the other players around him. So he's playing with a little bit more pep in your step. It's like, did you ever play like basketball in high school or middle school or elementary? Did you ever play on a basketball team?
I never played basketball. With the one sport I didn't play.
Okay, well, I played a little bit of basketball when I was growing up, very little bit, and but I can tell you when I played and I made a shot, made a basket, running back down to the other side of the field, I was dying to play defense.
Feeling yourself.
Oh, I was like, let's go, I want to get down there and do it. You just get that first basket under you, right? Or anything, the first hit in baseball or the first, touchdown you score in football. It's like you're dying to like go out there because you just had something awesome happen. Yeah. So I think Talkie, now that he had that, I think it was a big confidence booster for him.
And
so
you know what? Yeah, and you know what's funny, Mike, is his run score, his run defense.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best on the team, 87.5. I mean, against the run, this dude is a beast. It's getting the coverage stuff down. But I mean, his score is a 43 right now, but I could promise you that it was a lot lower than that a couple of weeks ago. So it like we talked about earlier in the show, I think he's starting to to just react now. He's not thinking as much, and we're starting to. I mean, the whole group, honestly, and like you said, we'll give Mac Wilson the pass here for a little while because he's coming back from the injury. But I mean, you look at Malcolm Smith, 15 of 86. Taki is now 21 of 86. You've got B.J. Goodson who's come on. He's 24 of 86. So now all of a sudden, the linebackers aren't as putrid as they were.
Mm-hmm.
The one guy that's disappointed me so far this year on defense. Who do you think it would be? If I said one guy,
I would probably say, and he hasn't disappointed me. So if I'm wrong,
yep,
I don't want him to come down on me.
Okay.
But probably Sheldon Richardson would be the one that I would say you may be disappointed. Is that correct or no?
That is close, but as my grandfather would say, no cigar.
Vernon?
Nope. Vernon actually has stepped up his game. I got a 72.1.
I know, but because those are guys that Vernon and Richardson have had moments where amazing things have happened, and Richardson having him in the middle there has been honestly really good.
Yeah, I mean he's actually his score has actually improved. Sheldon's 60 of 130. Olivier's 25 of 108. He stepped his game up, and again, we were hard on him all off season, but now all of a sudden, we're getting the healthy guy that we thought we were getting, the Pro Bowl player from the Giants. So I mean that's great to see. We hope he could sustain it. But the guy that disappoints me, 103 of 130, Larry Ogunjobi.
Wow, yeah, I did not think that Ogunjobi was that far down.
Yeah.
And I thought Ogunjobi was going to have a big year.
Yeah, me too.
I thought he's got a couple games left. Right?
Yeah,
he's got a couple games left, but I thought he was going to have a really big year, and to know that his number is that low is a bit disappointing, cuz I think him and Miles are good friends, and that's where I know we've talked about this in the past and nobody wants to really say it, and because who knows, but as soon as OBJ goes down and we don't have to force those balls in anymore and we start spreading it around, good things have happened. So not to say that I don't want OBJ to come back, but what I'm trying to say is there is something about culture and about teamwork when people are all in it together and can get excited for each other. And I do think that OBJ got excited for other guys. I did, but I think a lot of it was about him.
Yeah.
And I don't really blame him for it. He is that stereotypical kind of diva wide receiver type guy. Yeah. And those guys need to be fed, and they need to be fed often. And then if they're not getting fed, if they're not doing well, or if they are getting fed and they're not making plays, they get really frustrated really quickly.
Yeah.
And the second you take that away, Baker becomes the old 2018 Baker. And he even said it in the offseason. They said, what's the one thing that you regret? And he's like, you know what? I wasn't myself.
Yeah.
I wasn't being myself. And he's like, I don't know why. I don't know what it was, but he felt uncomfortable. And you have to look at it and go, well, what was making you uncomfortable? Was it the protection was breaking down? You didn't have a good offensive line? Yeah, that's probably one of it.
Yeah.
But bringing in a superstar like that you're like, well, I don't want to hurt his feelings or do anything like that. I mean, those are, and then Jarvis and him kind of, you went together off that. I'm just saying it should be noted. I'm not saying to kick Odell out or anything like that, because I think Odell is trying really hard to get back, and I think he wants to be on the Browns. And I think now that we're winning, he definitely wants to be on the Browns.
And Mike, I think that if you can't deny what we see with our eyes, and you can't deny the statistics. I mean,
yep.
Since OBJ went down, Baker's game has exponentially improved. I mean, there's none of us can doubt that. But what I do think, I think I think OBJ's here next year. I don't think that's a question. But and I think we're better for it, and I think we'll be set up even better for it next year in a sense that Baker now will have, if everything continues the way that it is, he's going to have a body of work that says, I'm pretty damn good. So now, when you go into 2021, you don't have to feed anybody because we know that if you just play the game the way he played from the first time that he stepped on the field and against the Jets, that he could drop back when he's comfortable. He could scan, find the guy, throw a howitzer, move the chains.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a, hey, okay, yeah, you're back, plugging you back in, but don't expect it to be what we wanted it to be essentially, last year. It's a new ball game, and it's either it's going to, and I think they're ultimately better with him as long as, there's no, forcing the ball to OBJ, as you just said.
And here's the thing too. Okay, so let's talk about this.
Yep.
OBJ adds an element. You talked about it as soon as he went down. Is about what he does to the offense in terms of you have to respect that home run hitter, right? Okay,
Yep.
and that's been that's now taken away a little bit. But now what's happened is you've noticed that home run hitter, that it's home run or strikeout, home run or strikeout. OBJ at this point in his career, I don't think wants to be a possession receiver. He doesn't want to catch 117 balls a year. He'd rather catch 81 and 11 touchdowns than 117 and 4 touchdowns, right? So, but you notice now that he's out, who's getting the ball more? Who's scoring touchdowns? Jarvis, Higgins,
Yep.
DPJ, Hooper. I mean, we threw the ball to Kendall Lamb. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
What a beautiful catch.
yeah. Did you see Stefanski's press conference?
Yeah.
When they asked him, well, what did you think of that? And he's like, well, I would have liked it if he would have jumped up and caught it at its high point, but whatever, we'll work on that. Me and Lindsay were watching that, and we both were dying when he said that.
Funny.
And he said it with like such a straight face and
He
so
really
like
did.
dry that it was
He's
like
so even keel.
I honestly loved it.
Yeah, no, I did too. And what I was going to say to you was, I mean, and I'm at a loss for words here while I'm trying to describe it, and I'd love to know what the chat thinks about after what I say.
Mhm.
But what did Higgins do last year that he could not sniff the field? Like what happened? Like
So the
the only
rumor
thing,
was,
and before you say what you're going to say, the only thing that I could think of, and honest to God, I don't know any rumors, nothing.
Okay.
The only thing I could think of is Higgins strikes me as a tell it like he sees it kind of guy without giving a shit about what anybody has to say. And I almost feel like he knew that Freddie was a farce early and called him out on something. And Freddie didn't like it. And then that was the end of Higgins as we knew it for the rest of the year.
yeah.
What,
Well, the rumor was that he suffered an injury, and
Yep.
he was asked to go back in the game and refused to go back in the game and it was still like, I don't know if the game was over or if it was like there was still a chance, but he refused to go back in the game. And at that point on, he was like, if you're not going to go back in the game now, you're not going to play for us. You don't tell us if you can go in or not. We're going to tell you. And I don't know if he was injured or if his attitude was just wrong. I feel like in the pros, like if you get asked to go in, you're going to go in. You're dying to get on the field, like no matter what the score is. So, but that was the rumor, and who knows? And then the other thing was like, well, maybe he doesn't block well downfield and stuff like that. But then you look at him this year. I mean, he's the best blocking downfield receiver we have. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that narrative couldn't be right. So it must have been something to do with him and his relationship with Freddie, and those guys, or maybe it was Monken. Who knows? But we all, as fans, were like, "Where is Rashard Higgins?
Yeah.
This is a guy who's scoring touchdowns out of nowhere." And do you remember in the first game of the season against the Titans, the first opening drive, we run down the field and bam, we take off, and Baker throws that dart right down the middle to Higgins.
Right down, coming into my end zone. Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember like it was yesterday. And I thought, here we go, baby.
Yep, this is it. This is what we've been promised. And then sometime in that game he got injured. And then it was just like, it was something that just didn't work. And then I think that's where it came into, like, I don't know. I know some people that are close to him that we could probably at some point reach out and ask. It might not be appropriate now that he's still on the team,
Right.
but at some point we'll get that answer. But I honestly, I love Higgins. I love his attitude. I love that him and Baker are such good friends. I don't know if you caught it in the Titans game when they were saying like they hung out so much, Baker and Higgins, that it was like he was a member of Baker's family.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And even when he wasn't playing, he wasn't getting hardly any playing time. He comes in for 3 plays and catches a touchdown, back to the bench, right? And we're sitting there like, come on, like he's doing it. But then you see Baker and Jarvis and OBJ and stuff like that hanging out, and who's with him? Higgins, the forgotten man. And then he comes back, he signs a 1-year, $1 million deal with us, taking less money than he probably could have found in the open market just to continue playing with Baker. And again, doesn't start off the season getting a lot of playing time or a lot of action. It wasn't until OBJ goes down till Higgins had to step up. And you know what? It wasn't even like Rashard Higgins stepping up. Rashard Higgins was just being Rashard Higgins.
Yeah.
And that's why ultimately the next season's test is to see what happens when Odell comes back. Because I know Odell's going to rehab himself to be just fine.
Oh yeah. I mean, we talk about it those every day. I mean, this dude is. I mean, he literally just had surgery, and I guarantee. Now, obviously he couldn't go in and play a football game right now, but I guarantee you that, he could run around town, and you would never think, oh, that dude just got over an ACL surgery. Like you would, you know what I mean? Like
he could probably squat more than both you and I.
Easy.
With one leg.
Easy. One leg. One leg.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, he's gonna be back playing, and he's gonna be back in playing shape.
Yeah.
It's just that what will that do now? Like you were saying, now Baker's gonna have that body of work that says, hey, it's gonna go to everybody now. And 28, 29-year-old Odell Beckham is gonna have to sit back and go, okay, I had my time in the sun. This team is Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and Baker not forcing it, and Baker not putting us in a position where risk can occur, right? And then what I want to see more of from Odell is how we used him in that Cowboys game.
Yeah.
A reverse to him and making him go hit a home run with a reverse. The wide receiver pass with Jarvis to him. They're home run type plays that are relatively lower risk. That's what I want to see. And then have him be, the guy you can make 2 steps, slant, bam, you hit him.
And when you talk about what we've seen out of Baker recently, you have to give the guy credit in a sense that if you look around the league on any other team, for the most part, those quarterbacks are looking for their Michael Thomas, their my CeeDee Lambs or Coopers or Alshon Jeffrey. I'm just
like
Allen
their
Robinson.
Guy. Yeah.
Their guy. And the thing about Baker and the thing that sort of hooked me in the beginning, and then we lost it, and then now later in the season here it's back, is he doesn't care what number you are or what name is on the back of your jersey. If you're open, he'll find you and he's going to throw you the ball. Like you look at all these other teams, like Dallas Goedert, for example, on the Eagles. And I know they had Zach Ertz, but like Dallas Goedert, it turns out, I mean, he's a fabulous tight end, but Wentz would never throw the ball to him when he was on the field at the same time with Ertz, because quite frankly, he didn't trust him and he didn't earn his trust yet. And you see that all over the NFL. But the thing about Baker is it doesn't matter. He just finds an open guy and he hits him. And with a running attack like we have, I mean, that's the name of the game. I mean, and then so if that's the kind of ball that we're going to get out of these guys, and especially with the offensive line and the running game, and I mean, we could go on and on and on. Then you look at the defensive side of the ball, and yeah, I mean, we're not gangbusters right now, but we got guys that are improving at the right time. So all of a sudden, you look at the defense, and it might not be this week, and it may not be next week, but I most certainly will be the week after that. You've got now another week, 2, 3 weeks of this improved linebacker play. But let's just say, for all intent and purpose, let's talk next week. So we've got 3 linebackers that are actually playing well right now. We've got a defensive line that now Vernon's stepping up, and Miles is Miles, and Sheldon Richardson's been playing well. So now you got Denzel Ward coming back on one side. And then now you got Ronnie Harrison coming back, God willing. And now really the only real weak part of the defense, and I use that loosely, is really Sendejo, right? Because now you got your top safety back, you got your top cover guy back, and everybody else is improving around you and improving at the right time. If they go, I'm telling you, if they beat the Ravens on Monday night and then they turn around, and I don't even care if for some strange reason the first time in the NFL they found a way to win by a half a point at MetLife against the Giants on Sunday night, I'm going to start crying, because there's a chance that I probably was going to miss an AFC championship game at First Energy Stadium, or at least a home playoff game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could always buy the tickets, you know? It might cost you what it would cost for an entire season of like each individual game for one game in First Energy. But that's kind of what I've been waiting for. You know, I'm waiting for, I could have gone to other games this year and I was like, no, let's just hold off. But I got to tell you, looking at the games that we have left, I have some belief. It starts with the Ravens, though. You know, it really does.
It really does.
We're catching them at the right time, I think. I really do. And we're hot right now. We're coming off several wins in a row. We're scoring points. The defense is doing just enough. You know, you look at the last 4 games. 41-35, we survived. The Jaguars game, 27-25, a bonehead move by their coaching staff. Maybe it's a different game, and you know, missed field goal here or there. It's a different game. So again, 2-point difference. The game before that, 22-17 against the Eagles. Right? We're just doing enough. The game before that, 10-7 against the Texans. We're just doing enough on defense to make it happen. And the offense seems like it's clicking on all cylinders at this point.
Yeah.
I am worried about a playoff game with Sendejo back there.
Yeah.
And you know what? He had an interception that was taken back by a crappy penalty, right? And then the game before, you know, getting that I guess it didn't count as an interception, but he did catch it in the end zone, you know, to stop the 2-point conversion. I mean, you know what? Maybe he's getting better too. You know, we've talked a lot about Taki and Mac Wilson. They seem to be doing better, but hey, Sendejo's he's not the Sendejo from the first 4 games where it was like he was completely lost. And I got to hand it to him. I mean, again, we talk about it. He was never brought here to be the guy. He was never brought here to start. He's in the twilight of his career, and he's going out there. And although the fans rag on him, and really, really, the uneducated fan out there that just sees him and just hates on him, he's just going out there and playing and having a good time out there with his guys. So, bless his heart. I mean, he's trying, just like you and me, man. We wouldn't be the top guy. We're not Odell by any means in terms of athletic ability, but you put me on the field, I'm going to try as hard as I can. And I think that's what Sendejo's doing.
Yeah. And you and I talked about it a ton on this show. He when he signed that contract, he thought he was just going to be like a depth guy and hey, rah, rah, rah. And the next thing you know, the guy's playing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, for what he was supposed to be, he's probably, I mean, for all intent and purpose, for what he was supposed to be, he's probably
exceeding
expectations, I mean, really, when you think about it. But if you look at this offense, and we've said it, I mean, it goes the way of Baker. And some people may think I'm crazy with what I'm about to say. But if you have a healthy OBJ in there, I go back to the 90s. Dallas Cowboys, would they have great offensive line? What do we have? Great offensive line.
Yep.
Would the Dallas Cowboys have a great number one wide receiver in Michael Irvin? What do we have? A great wide receiver
and a great number
OBJ.
two.
Yep, they had a great number two in Alvin Harper. We have a great number two in Jarvis Landry. They had a great number three in Calvin Martin. We have a great number three in Rashard Higgins.
And DPJ.
And they had Emmitt Smith.
We have two Emmitt Smiths.
Right? and we have,
Novacek, we've got
and exactly. And then Hooper is like Novacek. So, and if you go back to those years of when they were building that Cowboys team, they had the offensive pieces. It was the defensive pieces that they had to start putting together, and the Russell Marylands of the world and the Ken Norton Jr. started getting drafted. And so it's not too far-fetched to almost feel that like our team has sort of got that kind of feel to it,
It's almost because you remember the Cowboys. If you really go back to those teams, what was it, the 90 Cowboys, which were like 1-15. Jimmy Johnson. It was either 89 or 90.
It was the 89.
89. Okay, yeah.
That was Troy's rookie year. Yeah.
Right. So 1-15, and then 90 and beyond. It was like they were unstoppable.
Yeah.
I mean, it was them and the 49ers, and that was it. I mean, it was like whose year is it? And for them to win it those three times, once with Barry freaking Switzer.
Yeah, and if you remember, because you mentioned the 49ers, it was for the Cowboys and the 49ers, it was, hey, we're like a corner away, and then they went out and they got Dion, and then the other squad wound up with Dion. So you know what I mean? So it's like,
would you say that the 49ers were the team of the 80s?
Yeah.
Do you think that? Yeah, I think, and then the team of the 90s,
the Cowboys,
would have to be the Cowboys, even though they were a lot more successful in the early 90s. They were still probably the team of the 90s.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny because if you go back there, the Cowboys, and obviously you had I hate to say it, but you had the Steeler Super Bowls there, but it was the Cowboys sort of dominated the 70s as well, and then it was Joe Montana putting the heart in Cowboys fans when he hit Dwight Clark, and then that was the turn of now the 49er dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean,
and we were kind of the forgotten team of the 80s, because you go back to the Browns in those 80s, some of the most talented Hall of Famers all over those teams. And
absolutely.
And I think that's kind of where we are now, because Marty came in 85.
Yeah.
And then it kind of took off from that point. And I think that's where we are right now with the Browns. you almost consider last year like even though Stefanski wasn't here yet, that was our first like team gelling, not gelling, but together, like the core team. So you had Baker, OBJ, Jarvis, Miles, Hunt. Although you had Hunt and Miles being out for a series of games last year that ultimately really probably made a pretty major difference to us in terms of the overall success of that season.
Yeah.
But if you look at where we were in the 80s and how it was up and coming, the guys like Bernie hadn't got injured yet. You know, it was like we just had this team and we were winning tons of games, going to AFC championships, right? And going to the playoffs just about every year. 86, 87,
Yeah,
you know,
they
88,
dominated the late
89.
80s.
Yeah. And we were just a forgotten team because we never got past it.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, and yeah, I mean, if you think of those years, if things fall a little differently, going back to Red Right 88 to the fumble and drive, or drive and the fumble, I mean, then you have an argument like 49ers,
Yep.
Browns, but as we know, and unfortunately, we couldn't get out of our own way. Basically, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, that's essentially what happened.
Yeah. J-Rod 12278 on Twitch said that the Bills were also a team in the 90s with his 4 Super Bowl appearances. And,
Yeah,
and again,
absolutely.
that's if they win all 4, then they're the team, right?
Yeah.
But we were like we were almost like the Bills of the 80s without making it to the Super Bowl. We're
without the
kind
Super
of like
Bowl, you're
that.
right. Yeah.
And then you've got you know, and then after the 2000s, it was like the Patriots for the last 20 years. Would really, you have to say it, because there's been some one onesie twosie stuff with the Steelers, then you know the Packers, right? You know, they got theirs, so it's like a little bit, and now we're kind of in this transitionary period within the NFL. We've talked about this before. We're seeing the end, the twilight of Roethlisberger, Breeze, Rodgers, Brady, Rivers. Like those guys are at the end. You know, I would put Eli Manning in there. He's already gone. Peyton Manning's already gone, right? So the old guard of those guys who really made the NFL, you know, their league for the past 20 years, give or take, they're all now in the twilight and ending. And then you got this new breed with Mahomes and Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen and Lamar. And Baker Mayfield's in there.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Everybody wanted, after Baker Mayfield's 27 touchdown rookie season, we were all ready to anoint him as, you know, the savior of Cleveland, the next Bernie Kosar, right? The guy who we were going to be like, this is our guy, and we put him up on the pedestal. And then when things got shaky last year, not everybody, a lot of people went, he's trash, throw him out and get rid of this guy. I don't think you and I ever got there. We got to the point where we were being very skeptical of it.
Yep.
To be like, hey, is this possible? But I think you and I were both the reality of, we saw the Baker that we have this year last year. Or I'm sorry, in his rookie year.
Yeah.
We saw that guy. So it's like, if we're getting that again, and we are getting that Baker this year.
Yeah.
Right. So guys, it's over. The Titans game and the Bengals game this year, when he threw all those 9 touchdowns, that's it. It's over. He's our guy. He's our window guy. Keenum Stan, see ya. You know, you don't see anybody talking about Case Keenum anymore, because Baker's just, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what in the NFL, it doesn't matter what your stats are. Are you winning or are you losing? Yeah. And when you have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, you're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And that's where I was going to go. I mean, if he got his head on straight and was studying and really grasping what Stefanski was throwing at him, then it was inevitable, because he's a smart guy. We know that. I mean, I mean, he played in the spread offense in college, so it was a lot of one read stuff. But
Mhm.
you know, he proved his rookie year that he was capable. It was just a matter of did he get ruined last year, and is his confidence so shot that it doesn't matter how much film he watches, he's just not going to be able to progress anymore because he's shell shocked for one,
Yep.
because he got his ass handed to him last year, and then the doubts creep in, and then I mean, nothing that I'm saying that you don't already know, and you guys in the chat don't already know, but um, it's you just if you think about the recipe that we have on offense, when the dude is clicking,
Yeah.
how do you beat it? I mean, you have a quarterback that sees guy open, throws guy open, and two running backs that would just run you over
We have two Hall
or
of Fame
run
running
past
backs.
you.
We have two Hall of Fame running backs. I'm saying it
Yeah.
right now. They are Hall of Fame caliber running backs.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you got a former rushing champion back there, and
Another guy who
and
should have been.
yeah, and a guy that should have and could have been. And I mean, you've got an offensive recipe right now with, if that's the Baker you're going to continue to get, then I mean, you're going to score some points,
Yeah.
and it's just a matter of the defense. I don't know. What are you going to do? I mean, sometimes, I mean, everybody gets the bad luck throughout the league. It's not like when you look at the 49ers, their defensive line was just absolutely decimated, and then they lost Garoppolo and a couple of other guys. So I mean, it happens around the league, but man, what would the secondary look like with Denzel, T. Mitch, Harrison, and Delpit?
And
If
Greedy.
if in fact we got the Delpit from the good LSU Delpit.
Well, even Greedy, getting him. If somebody was asking, is Greedy ever coming back? I was like, we don't know.
You know what?
We don't know. We don't know.
I don't know. You have to wonder at this point, is the nerve damage in his shoulder, is it? I mean, we don't even know.
Permanent.
I mean, he could have dead shoulder. You know what I mean? I mean, that nerve could be shot right now, and we don't even know if it's ever going to come back.
Exactly. We got some guys in on the Twitch chat. J-Rod said that Freddie messed up Baker's confidence. Just glad he didn't destroy it permanently. And I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
That, part of it was Freddie, part of it was Todd Monken, part of it was the offensive line, and you put all those things together. If you don't have time, and you're getting crushed, and then it makes you force the ball, and it's difficult. He's still a young quarterback, so he doesn't have the chance to really absorb the defense, what the defense is doing. He's got to throw it quickly. He's got to if he's got to have happy feet. He still has weird footwork, right? That hasn't changed yet. Like footwork's got to continue to get better, but and this is one thing that I was going to say earlier and I forgot about it, and now it came back to me, and I'm glad I did. Another guy who I'm really happy that we have on this team that is almost never going to get even mentioned in terms of like what he's done and what he means for a lot of reasons is Conklin.
Yeah,
I mean, solidifying that right tackle.
Yeah.
Solidifying the right tackle. So we got him, and then Teller, who just steps up and becomes a beast. And then you got Treader and Petonio, who are Pro Bowl caliber guys. And then you put Wills on the left side and say, hey, learn how to do this job. And he's off to a fantastic start.
Yeah.
A couple weird holding penalties in some critical situations that we like, and false starts that we like to have stop. But again, young guy. This offensive line is an offensive line that we haven't seen, honestly, since the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It has been 30 years, 30 plus years, 35 years since we've seen an offensive line like this. So when it comes down to it, if from a draft, from a free agent stuff, we're going to have to pay some of our guys because they're going to be coming up, and just got announced that Rashard Higgins they're looking to extend him already.
Yep.
Congratulations. They have eyeballs just like we do, that they're like, hey, we should probably hold on to this guy because he's real good and Baker likes him. But we got to go all in on the defense. And And it's not that we need to replace because Ronnie Harrison, fantastic.
Yeah,
When he's out there and healthy,
yeah.
great. But we need depth. Because look at us. We've been decimated, right? And our depth guys are not the ones who are getting injured. It's our starters.
Yeah, we've been bit by the bug.
Yeah, we need two. We need two cornerbacks. We need two, because Greedy, like we said, who knows what's going to happen with him? And Denzel can't stay healthy for an entire year. So we need two.
I know.
Go get them.
You know, I'm curious to see if, and we talked about it at the top of the show, but I'm curious to see what kind of update we get on Denzel tomorrow. But you know, another another worry is it, and we don't know if he tested positive. We just know that he was in close contact outside the building. But man, I mean, Wyatt Teller is a big deal. Like we need
Yeah.
Wyatt Teller on Monday night. There's no
Well,
there's
they
no
did
question about
say
it.
that he was in contact. He didn't test positive. He
Yeah.
was in contact with somebody outside of the building who tested positive. So he's got to go into the protocol. But they did say that if he continues to test negative, that he would be eligible to play. So he's
Yes.
not out,
Nope.
which is huge, right? But yeah, Teller, it's at this point, if now we're in a playoff, we're on a playoff run, right? And you look at what's happened to us, and a lot of it has been, more. Actually, I would say probably just a decent blend of actual natural football injuries and COVID. But the good thing is, you look at a guy like Myles Garrett, he's not gonna get COVID again, or it's very unlikely that he's going to test positive for COVID twice in a short period of time. I don't think that's how it works. At least people weren't even sure you could get it twice. I don't think anybody really knows, but it's unlikely that if we go deep into the playoffs, we're going to lose Myles to COVID again, right? And we just got to make sure everybody's smart. I want to say the Ravens had, I think like Willie Snead went out with either had COVID or was close in contact with it, and he was held out of a game, and the Ravens fans were getting on him. It's like, it's one thing if you get it. It's another thing. It's like if you get it like for somebody on the team, but if you get it from outside and you're just not being safe, then you have every right to be pissed off at somebody, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff going on with it, man. I think we're in a really interesting position here. One that it's almost like once in a lifetime type feeling. It really kind of is a once in a, because you think a lifetime could be 30 years.
Yeah, like we like, this is like 9-3. It's yeah. I mean, it's wild, but I mean, we're still not getting the and it's fine, whatever. But I mean, we're still not getting the love from the media. I mean, we beat a team and it's, their defense sucks, but the Ravens beat the 32nd ranked team, and Lamar throws for 100 yards, and the offense was moving the ball last night. If you go across, the national media, whatever. So
their rushing attack is a spectacle.
Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. There's I mean, there's only one way to change the narrative, and that's, as soon as they come through our, into our building on Monday night and the whistle blows, you smack them in the mouth, and you smack them in the mouth for 4 quarters, and you walk out of your house with a win, and now you're off to New York. And yeah, I mean, that's
Well, I mean, it has to be like and I was very cautious about calling that Tennessee game.
Yeah.
I was like, I think we have the ability to win, but who knows? Because they beat the living heck out of us, and they're in a must-win division. Every game's must-win for them, and for us to come out and say we don't care what happened in the past, we don't care what you're doing in the division, we're coming to your house and we're gonna lay it on you, and then allow you to slowly limp in and see if you can get back, but not quite make it there, like just like in the Cowboys game.
Yeah.
And so that proved to me that when we want to play up, and we played 2 amazing quarters. If you take those 2 quarters that we played in Tennessee, we are a Super Bowl caliber team.
You saw what Rex Ryan said. Yeah, I mean, and I don't put a ton of weight into what Rex Ryan has to say, but I don't know if you saw it, but the other day he basically said, if this is the Baker Mayfield that is going to come to play every week, I could see the Browns in the Super Bowl. And I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I mean that's something that he said.
Mm-hmm.
But I really, I mean, I really I get a feel of that Super Bowl Eagles team. I really do.
I mean,
and I don't know why, but I do. And you and I have talked about it.
Yeah. Nick Foles took a team to the Super Bowl, won it. Trent Dilfer took a team to the Super Bowl, won it. Roethlisberger when he was young. Joe Flacco. I mean, even Tom Brady when Tom Brady was young.
Yeah.
You don't have to be Peyton Manning. You don't have to be Joe Montana to win Super Bowls. There are guys that win if they have the right pieces around them. Jim McMahon in the 80s had the right pieces around him. He won a lot of games as a quarterback, but he had the right pieces around him and did well. And I think Baker is finally learning that I don't have to be the guy who throws for 500 yards a game for us to win. He doesn't have to, like Joe Burrow has to do that because that's all they have. And then it ended up shredding his knee because of it, right? It was only a matter of time. And this is what I keep saying about Lamar. I'm like, it's only a matter of time with this guy. It's going to happen at some point. The dude's going to get injured. Every running quarterback in the history of the game, everyone has gotten injured. He will get injured at some point. And Baker, he's just going, look, there was when I was making the video today, I was going back through a bunch of old Baker stuff, and it's so funny to me when one, I don't know which handoff it was. It might have been the Ravens game where he handed it off to Chubb and he went for 92. Actually, it was more of a toss, but and he's sitting there. He's like, man, I'm a good hander offer.
Yep.
And he doesn't care. He's like, hey, I'm winning games. I don't care if I throw 0 touchdowns. As long as I throw 0 interceptions and we win, I'm good. Which,
what I was going
to
say to you, it has nothing to do with the Browns, but you said something and it made me start thinking. But when you brought up Jim McMahon, like you think of the Bears, right? And like they were a perennial powerhouse for a while, but I don't think like you have to go back to like Sid Luckman in like the 40s and 50s. Who I think he won like four Super Bowls, I think maybe with or they were championships back then, but maybe 4 championships with the Bears back in the day, or at least 3. And if you went through the Bears since then, they've always had horrible quarterback play.
Yeah.
I mean,
Really
Jim McMahon wasn't really that good either. I mean, when it really boils down to it, like you seriously, you have to go back to Sid Luckman to find a good quarterback for the Chicago Bears. I just found that wild when you said that.
It's crazy, because you think about the Bears. I thought in the 80s, Jim McMahon was, I was 5 years old when they won in 85.
Right.
But just coming into football and figuring out what it was. And, with the Fridge and Walter Payton and those guys, and then the first Tecmo Bowl game where you could play with the 85 Bears on that team.
Yeah.
And, it's like, I thought Jim McMahon was fantastic. And then I think the problem with Jim McMahon, because he could have been even better, but he had a lot of concussions.
Yeah.
And it just shredded him. And I think he's probably dealing with a lot of CT because he's not been in the public. And he was a flashy, sunglasses, like 80s type, superstar type guy. And then, but you're right. Then it went to like it was Harbaugh. After Harbaugh in Indianapolis, he goes to Chicago, and I could have those flipped.
No, he literally was. I mean, he was, and Jim Harbaugh was nothing to write home about. And you could consider him like one of the best Bears quarterbacks
ever.
You know what I mean? Like that's just that's wild.
I mean, honestly, before Trubisky, I mean, I can't even. They're just. There's nobody memorable who played quarterback there.
Jay Cutler, that's it.
Yes, you're right. Cutler did, but they bought him. They bought him from Denver,
Yeah.
and they hated him in Chicago.
Yeah, big time.
My wife's from right outside of Chicago on the Indiana side, and all of her relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, stuff are like big Bears fans. I remember flying into Chicago and driving past that stadium, and I was like, oh man, that Soldier Field, man, like what a cool place. What a cool place to play football and everything. And it's just it's like they had their identity. And
Monsters of the Midway.
Their identity was like, it was like the 85 Bears. Everybody thinks of the Bears, they think of the 85 Bears.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, it's been like,
Yeah.
who's it? Who was the running back? Neil something was their running back. I mean, they just like, it was like they went from like Walter Payton to
I
like,
forgot about Rex Grossman.
oh yeah, Rex Grossman. Yeah, didn't he take him to the Super Bowl? Didn't Rex Grossman, didn't the Bears make it to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman?
Was it? You might be right.
Bears.
You might be right because he played with the Redskins too. But you might be right.
Bears played in the Super Bowl in 2007.
They did. Who was their quarterback? Was it Rexy? Sexy Rexy.
I think I want to say it was. I'm gonna go back and see
yeah.
if we
Bulldog says Rex lost to Peyton Manning.
It was Rex Grossman. He went 20 of 28, threw for 165, one touchdown, 2 interceptions in Miami, and I was living down there at that time, and it was a rainy day, and Peyton Manning didn't really have a great game from what I remember either. 25 of 38, 247, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he won MVP. Marvin Harrison had a big game. Reggie Wayne had the 1 touchdown, big 1 touchdown catch, 53-yard touchdown right up the middle. But yeah, Rex Grossman. The Bears have been so forgettable.
Yeah.
Right.
Think about that though. That if I remember correctly, that Colt team had Dallas Clark at tight end, Edgerrin James in the backfield, and Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, right? Like, how do you?
Yeah,
I mean,
young Reggie Wayne.
You should win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they had a good team. Joseph Adai, Dominic Rhodes. Was Edgerrin James on that team?
I think he was in one of those Super Bowls with Peyton.
Well, he didn't play in that game. I'm looking in terms of rushing. Dallas Clark had a rush in that game.
Did he?
He did.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I don't know how we got on the Bears topic, but it's like,
It was my fault. I apologize.
It's like, I feel like where we are as the Browns right now, it is such I mean, we're sitting at 9-3. I have to say it out loud to believe it, and some of these games, because I was talking to Lindsay, and she's like, yeah, some of these games are just ugly, and it comes down to the nail biter ready to the last, an onside kick recovery in order to win after being up by a zillion points. And I go, I know, but tomorrow, all of that's forgotten, and the numbers in terms of our record are the only thing that matters, and we have 9 wins. The guy Engraven said, it doesn't matter what the Browns do for the rest of the season. They are a winner. They are a winning team in the NFL. No matter what. We cannot be a loser. We are no longer losers, guys. That's it. And it's a great feeling.
It really is.
It's a great feeling being playing not just like outside in looking like we have a 17% chance to make the play. We are playing relevant, controlling our own destiny football. Mm-hmm. We control it. All we have to do is take care of business. We don't have to have 6 teams lose and 1 team tie in order to make the playoffs. We could just go out and do it. So, yeah, it's a great time. It's a great time to be a Browns fan. I know it's getting up there in terms of, we've been at it for 2 hours and 34 minutes. It's getting up there a little bit late here today. I want to say thank you to everybody, especially the guys on Twitch. I know Rachel, my new subscriber over there, Bulldog 2279, J Rod's over there as well. I've been chatting with them on the side, and of course, all the amazing Brownie postgame, OG Brownie postgame guys in the chat. Saxon's here. I saw Max Nikolenko showed up. Mick the dog, Zupan.
Nix is out there.
Blasian is here. I saw Lace in the house a little while ago. Just so you guys know, we are reading the chat, and I try to get to you guys. If I can't say it because I'm in the middle of a thought or Mike's talking, I'm at least trying to chat back and forth with you guys. But yeah, I appreciate it. And I think this eventual move to Twitch is going to be a good thing for the channel. It's not easy getting people to view on Twitch. Is a grind. YouTube, you get a lot of like help with the algorithm in terms of like where you rank and that kind of thing. Twitch is different. Twitch doesn't care about any algorithm. They're like, if you have viewers, you're going to show up. If you don't have viewers, we don't give a crap about you.
Right.
But the one thing I will say, and I just hope everybody who's in chat right now can understand it, on Twitch, if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to me and to Brownie Postgame on Twitch for free, and it is more than the equivalent of you actually joining Patreon and giving $1 on Patreon, because you end up getting like $2 or something like that a month and it doesn't cost you anything. So it's not like, hey, you have to pay for if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to us on Twitch for free just by pushing the button, and you're good. And that helps us out a ton, because as we were talking about, like buying the Pro Football Focus stuff and stuff like that, and doing more giveaways, all this stuff. Like my dad and I talked about this early on when we started the channel, and we're like, what is our goal? What is our end game goal for Brownie Postgame? And what we were trying to do, and what we're going to do this year, was we're going to give away tickets to every Browns game. So in the post-game show, we're going to do a giveaway, and the giveaway would be for tickets to the next game, right? And hopefully we'd have enough in the Patreon fund and all that stuff to do it. And that's why we got to leave YouTube eventually, because we can't do that on YouTube. They just won't let us in. But Twitch, it's right there. And my end game goal is to actually buy season tickets for a fan. I want to be able to do a giant, I'm going to give season tickets away to somebody in chat. That's what I want to do.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome. So that's the end game goal, guys. I hope you guys liked the new hype video that's coming out tomorrow. I know we enjoyed having my dad on earlier. That was really cool that he was able to join. You guys, you got to meet him. I saw you guys were chatting away in the beginning. I was like, I think we got to go live, guys. Like we got already like 15 people waiting for us to go. And of course, everybody in chat. And if I didn't mention your name, I apologize. But like Jason's out there, Juhaz, Tim Ott, Tim Zoller. I always feel like I'm saying the names wrong. I apologize, guys. But thank you guys all for being here and hanging out with us on this lovely another edition of the Wednesday show. We would be giving away a Victory Monday mug, but they're out of stock. They're out of stock. So when they come back, we'll do more.
Got my Victory Wednesday going.
Victory Wednesday, baby.
And tomorrow it'll be Thursday. What the hell?
What do you? You could have a legit Victory Tuesday, though. It could legitimately be Victory Tuesday that we're drinking out of our Victory Monday mug, because nobody's made one.
I know. I'm telling you, it's there for the taking for us. Now, before we go, Mike, and we'll do it quick, because I know once I always derail us, and the next thing you know, 47 minutes later, we're still going at it. But what is I want your prediction score wise, and then I'll give you mine.
Yeah. I haven't even come close on a score, so I'm gonna give a wild one and say, I'm gonna say Browns 16, Ravens 9.
16-9.
I'm just because you know what I like customary thought would say it's gonna be a really high scoring game, you know, but I have a feeling that it's not gonna be. And I could be wrong. I mean, I'm literally just picked two numbers out of the sky. 16-9 Browns. It's not beyond the possibilities. I'm looking at some of the games earlier, like the 10-7 game against the Texans. That's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jason Juhas says 35-27 Browns. Blasian says 35-14. Stomping Peak, what's going on, Stomping? I haven't said hello to you yet. 24-21. Bulldog 2279 has 28-17 Browns. Mick the Dog 27-17. Lace 34-17. Max 24-14. Zupan, that video was great. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. It's coming out. Tim Zoller says 37-31, assuming Browns. Statement game, Blasian 35-14. J-Rod says 27-17. This is a payback game. Big time. I agree with you, Blasian. A lot of people are thinking Browns. American Saxon 34-7. Yep.
Oh, that would be nice.
Oh, that would be. You know what? I'd like to see like remember that Steelers game we won like 51-0 or whatever it was.
It was Monday night, right? Wasn't that a Monday nighter?
That's what we need to do. But you know what? That takes 4 quarters of play. 4 quarters of your foot on the gas and nonstop. And we showed the NFL last week. Zupan says 31-17. We showed last week that we can do it in terms of we have the strength. When all of our cylinders are firing, we are unstoppable, right? So, and I think that we're starting to believe in ourselves. Now that we've proven it, once you do it, then you have the confidence, right? Once you shoot the shot, you make it, you go, oh, I can do that again, right? So, and the fact that we got beat so bad a couple months ago by the same team, now they got to come to our house in the cold, and when their season's on the line, and we have an opportunity to avenge that early loss to them, I think we're going to be really up for it. I know they're going to be up for it. And if we got Denzel back, I feel even better.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm thinking we at least get some sort of update tomorrow. I think, for me, the only action Parkey gets on Monday night is kicking extra points.
Okay.
I think that they score 4 touchdowns, and I think they win 28-20.
28-20. All right. Honestly, I don't care if it was 2-0. As long as we beat these guys and we can say that we beat them, and we split it with them, because it's going to be it's a long off season, and you got to wait to play them again. And thinking back to all those games, all the times that we lost, it's personal with the Ravens.
Especially where I'm at.
Yeah, you're right there. You're in Ravens. You're Ravens-Eagles territory. You're Birdland.
It's terrible. Every day I got to hear it from somebody. Oh, somebody's sister likes the Ravens, or their brother, or their wife. I'm sick of it. Like we need to shut them up.
I want tomorrow to be the first game, the real statement game, because they're teetering. Their house is getting ready to collapse. And if we beat them bad, it could set off a chain reaction of misery for the Ravens. We have an opportunity to be the one to put that first nail in the coffin of that. You could call it a dynasty, a dynasty of somewhat, right? Maybe not winning all the time, but we could start really hammering away at them. And the Steelers are the next one to go, because as soon as Roethlisberger's out, I mean, finding a replacement quarterback in the NFL is not easy. It just is not an easy thing to do. So they could get lucky and find another Roethlisberger, or they could take him 20 years like they did after Bradshaw. So we'll see. But I hope that we beat them really bad. So if we have that 28-10, I'm cool with that. Happy. We're 10-3, and we get to drink from the Victory Monday mug for the 10th time in one season. It wasn't too long ago, Mike, that if we had a win
One.
It was like, well, we won a game.
How sad.
Or in 2 seasons, we won 1 football game.
One.
And then
we drank out of the mug once.
And that guy retained his job. He retained his job.
Yeah.
You know, there are look at Andy. Andy Reid lost his job after like not winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? We had this putz who won 3.5 games, right? 3.5 games in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
It's been painful, guys. It's been painful. And I hope that Harbaugh gets canned. I hope Tomlin gets canned. The Steelers, they lose 1 game and their whole fan base is like losing their mind because they know the up and coming team, if they're being honest with themselves, is the Cleveland Browns, and we're now proving it by winning. Last year it was like, oh, they kind of look scary on paper. This year we're doing it with execution, which is a much different thing. But all right, Mike, it's getting on 10 o'clock here. Any closing thoughts? Any words of wisdom before we go?
I don't know about words of wisdom. I feel I'm nervous, but it's a confident nervousness, if you will. I really think that they win the game. I don't think that it might be a nail biter. I don't know. I mean, 28-20 was my pick. I mean, that's still kind of nail bitey, if you will. But I think they win, and then I think the challenge is going to New York next Sunday night with that defense, and we'll talk about that on Wednesday. But I hope that we're all right, and we're 10-3 after Monday night, which at that point I will be forced to jump on the post game show with you guys to scream and dance a little bit. But yeah, so I'm feeling good. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us again on a Wednesday night. It's very much appreciated, and obviously on the YouTube side, on the Twitch side, and yeah, it's I look forward to Wednesday every week. So thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank you very much for being a part of this. You guys are the reason why it happens, because it's no fun being on a channel just talking to yourself, or just having one other person in there with you. It's great that we've got this audience that continues to grow, and it's awesome that we can do it on both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. We didn't have to like shut off YouTube to go to Twitch. It happens at both simultaneously, which is pretty awesome. So appreciate all you guys. And yeah, we'll be Monday. We're not going to do a pre and post game because there isn't one this Sunday. So Monday night, 6 o'clock, we'll be live. Mike, you're welcome to join us for the pre if you're available. I know you may have your own early game rituals and stuff like that, but
no,
throwing it out there to you. And then we'll do the post game show at probably like 11:30ish. Probably because it's gonna be a late one, so I don't expect we get hundreds of people, but who knows? If we win the game, maybe we do. So all right, guys, go Browns. Tomorrow morning, first thing you're gonna see it. Hey, new subscriber, our Band of Brothers. Nice. Welcome, thank you, my friend. Our Band of Brothers on Twitch, my friend, love it.
Very cool.
Yeah, guys. So thank you very much. Look out for that new hype video tomorrow. Maybe how about we end with the hype? How about we end with it one more time?
Yeah,
right?
I like that.
Let's end with it just one more time for everybody, in case anybody didn't get a chance to watch it a little bit earlier. Let me VLC it up. Okay.
That's how it starts. The fever. The rage that turns good men cruel.
This bat vigilante is like a one-man reign of terror.
This means something. It's all some people have. It's all that gives them hope.
People hate what they don't understand. Be their hero.
Do you know the oldest lie in America, Senator? The devils don't come from hell beneath us. They come from the sky.
20 years in Gotham, how many good guys are left? How many stayed that way?
Black and blue. God versus man. Day versus night.
Tell me, do you bleed? You will.